Hurricanes tonight. Puck drop at 7. Looking forward to that series. Kobe's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Maybe the greatest top-line trio going into the NBA Hall of Fame at the same time of all time. Potentially. LeBron said so. I think there's one other one you can maybe make the argument for, but when you start and you go Kobe, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, you're pretty rolling, and then you keep on going with Rudy Tomjanovich and Tamika Catchings and a lot of those names. NBA playoffs are about to start. There's just a whole heck of a lot going on right now. We got Travis Etienne becoming a hybrid all of a sudden because Urban Meyer's smarter than everybody else in the history of football. There's a lot, Moan. What's happening?
There's a lot, man. That Hall of Fame class you brought up, man, takes me back to my, I don't want to say childhood because it was preteen age and just coming up and just watching a new wave post-Jordan just infiltrate the NBA and take it by storm, man. When you mentioned those three, KG, Kobe, Tim Duncan, from everybody that I knew, man, that played ball, you were either trying to beat Kobe, and this is a group in which the age that Kobe ended up coming in and which we started watching him, a lot of people look at Kobe over Jordan. And then you have the importance of Tim Duncan, in which a lot of people don't understand. And then you have the young phenom and Kevin Garnett that came straight out of high school and took the NBA by storm. You want to talk about an important group, man, a group that all three rings, all three that set a trend, a niche, a lane for the new wave of NBA. You got to tip your hat to him. KG is one of the coldest to do it in the sense of his attitude. I don't think people understand how much attitude he brought to the game for a big guy that was as agile as he was. And on the other side, you got a Tim Duncan type who's skillful, quiet, got the job done, a savage, but he didn't really have to say much or do much, man. That is a complete honor to watch those guys get enshrined into the Hall of Fame, man. Amazing. Again, you mentioned Tamika Catchings also. I mean, that's no afterthought either.
I mean, it was a very impressive list. Certainly the top three, it's hard to kind of go away from them, but I mean, growing up where Tim Duncan played college while he was there, me being in high school at the time that he was playing at Wake Forest 5 miles from me.
Yeah.
I knew he was great. I did not know he was going to go and have that career. A debate that I heard raised on Fox Sports Radio this weekend, I thought was a really fascinating question, and that was, between Kobe, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett, whose career would you have rather had? Because it's so difficult, because it's very, very arguable that Tim Duncan had a perfect career because he's probably the greatest power forward to ever live. He was never in trouble for anything. He won ring after ring after ring after ring with the NBA's version of the New England Patriots.
Yep.
With New England's version of Bill Belichick, with San Antonio's version of that with Greg Popovich. It was basically a perfect career. And then you look at Kevin Garnett. He was the Minnesota Timberwolves. They don't exist without him. And then when he leaves, they go right back to not existing for a while. He goes to Boston, one of the original super teams, and he wins again.
Yeah.
Everywhere he went, he found success, and he was one of the guys out of high school where it worked. He was really kind of the test case for all of that. And then, I mean, Kobe had one of the great careers in maybe the most important franchise outside of perhaps the Cowboys and perhaps the Yankees in all of American pro sports.
That I mean, if you ask it, I'll say this. Everybody wanted to be each one of those guys at any moment in time.
I guess it probably depended on your size.
It did. Or even what type of shots you were making. Think about Kobe. At a point, we were doing the fadeaway like Kobe, although it was Jordans. Like, let's think about that. Kobe and just the fro and just wearing Adidas also. Like, that is one of the craziest things about it. He put them back on the map as far as basketball shoes, as far as Adidas. And if you had two tall guys playing basketball on your high school team, you were probably Tim Duncan, David Robinson. You were the Twin Towers. Me and my brother Renardo, we played on the same basketball team in high school, the Twin Towers. Like, that was part of it. But KG is almost in a mode of his own. You know, like you said, when you ask that question, who would you have rather been? I This is gonna sound weird, but you kind of lean more towards KG. At least in my mindset, just starting off. KG came out of high school, a big man, which is where I relate to it more. What you just said a second ago, I relate to him being able to see him watch and do the stuff that he did at an early age in the NBA with the attitude and just the fearlessness of how he played the game. You lean towards KG, but respect what Kobe did as one of the greatest. But again, you mentioned Tim Duncan. Who's actually messing with him at that position?
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's him and it's Karl Malone and it's Dirk, but Dirk was more of a shooter. It's not like he had the entire game. Tim Duncan was able to play on both sides of the floor. It's tough. I mean, there are a lot of great power forwards. I mean, Chris Webber's a great power forward that's probably going into the Hall next year.
Yeah.
There are a long list, but Tim Duncan's at the top of that list. He actually made fundamental basketball interesting.
Yeah.
The Spurs were a boring team, and they bored you to death because they were so fundamentally sound. He was there. He was the fulcrum. Before Tony Parker, he was there. Before Manu Ginobili, he was there. I think you could easily make an argument for Duncan, and also just his private life. You don't know anything about him because he didn't want you to. He didn't care.
Nope.
He went and played when he retired. It was a wrap. Like, the most Tim Duncan thing I could think of is him retiring and then just going and doing his own thing. Like, I know he's doing things. I know he's even been associated with the team a little bit, but he's just not out there in front. He's always been kind of a private guy. He was stellar at basketball, and outside of that, he's just a kid from the Virgin Islands that's just kind of wired differently.
He wanted to swim first. Wasn't he on their national team or something like that? Like, they found him in the pool.
Just a flat athlete.
Just an athlete.
Just a crazy athlete. I think it's hard not to say Kobe, though.
It is hard not to, but, like, I remember when I'll say this. Kobe came out differently, I feel like, than KG. KG brought everything along with him. I mean, this big kid coming out of high school in South Carolina, it was more relatable to me because here I was, a big man playing the game, and was like, boy, if I can go out, if I can go to the NBA out of high school, knowing that wasn't my path right there. This guy's almost 7 foot, if not 7 foot tall. You know what I'm saying? With a skill set that a baby amongst men, but he held his own against those guys. Like, Kobe is the one you're choosing. But in the same sense, it's like KG really opened your eyes like a high schooler going out. And he's also the reason where a bunch of high schoolers made the mistake of coming out and going to the NBA.
Yeah, no, that part's a 1,000,000% true. Although Kobe also did it.
Kobe did it too, yeah. I know.
The thing with KG, why it's tough to pick him, is because those were a lot of lean years, though, in Minnesota where he lost and lost and lost and lost and didn't go to the playoffs. It's the same thing as Chris Bosh when he was in Toronto. It's like, yeah, he was great in Toronto, but he had to get out of there to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
KG realized there was a ceiling on the Minnesota Timberwolves franchise, so he left and went to Boston. And then his career became a heck of a lot more fun. I think that's the deal. It's like you go with Tim or Kobe just because it was probably fun to play on those teams because they were winning, because they were a target. Nobody cared about Minnesota. They cared about Kevin Garnett, but would you rather be a superstar on – I don't know, IDTV, or would you rather be a part of the show on Fox, a part of the show on CBS, something like that? I think that's where I probably would say I couldn't go with KG's, just because how frustrating would it be to have been that talented and still it not to have mattered because there was nobody else on that team that could ride with you? I mean, what was the best other player on those teams, like Wally Zerbiak or somebody like that? I mean, they had other guys, but they were not going anywhere. KG had to leave in order to win. And
that's what's so interesting about it, too, is what was it? The next year he wins the NBA championship once he leaves Minnesota when they do the Big Three in Boston. Very unique, too. Each one of these guys who went into the Hall of Fame, the top three, Kobe, Kevin Garnett, and Tim Duncan, all league MVPs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if we're talking about forwards also being league MVPs, man, that's one thing that kind of, I don't know, the NFL Hall of Fame is such a touchy thing, man, when it comes to, like, who gets in, who doesn't get in. because positions don't say, well, you scored this amount of points, especially when you're talking about D-line, O-line, potentially linebacker types and stuff like that. Like with NBA, you can justify it by saying, look, you got the most amount of points, games, championships, league MVPs. It's kind of hard to do that in the football world, but seeing these power forward center types and Kobe go in as league MVPs, man, it shows you how good they were, because you think about the athletes that came in this era, AI, Kobe, Tim, just a bunch of guys that are still playing. Shaq was still in the league at this time. Like, they were cold, man, when it comes down to their skill set and their careers.
I think that maybe I would have taken Tim Duncan, and maybe I still would on some days. It was the fact that Kobe was able to come back and win a championship after Shaq left.
Yeah.
If it had always been the narrative that without Shaq, what are you going to do? Well, when they got Pau Gasol, they still won another championship.
And Pau wasn't no Shaq.
No, he was great.
Yeah.
He is a great player, but he was not Shaquille O'Neal.
No.
Never by any stretch of the imagination was he that. And I think that when Michael Jordan says he can't delete you out of his phone, that's what he said on Saturday. He revealed that. He's like, yeah, Kobe's still on my phone. I can't get rid of that contact.
Wow.
If Michael Jordan wants to keep me in his phone, that's probably a career I want.
Yeah.
That's probably a life that I would have wanted. Yeah. To get that guy's respect,
to me, that's the GOAT.
Okay, like, well, I mean, to you and to me and to, I still think the vast majority of people that have ever watched sports, Michael Jordan's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT, 100%. He at least, and this is what people are going to always judge about Kobe too, is he took Michael's game plan.
Yeah, he took his game plan. He also took his game. Like, as he got older, his face started to look like Michael Jordan. Started to round off the same way.
With
his
the
fall
ball
away, his fall away shot, his pump fakes, everything started to look like Jordan.
Yeah.
It was amazing. As everybody was talking about LeBron, I was like, well, if you're talking about Jordan, it's Kobe. Because Kobe's game is like, I mean, we're talking Magic when we're looking at LeBron.
At LeBron, yes, 100%.
We're looking at MJ when we're looking at Kobe. Luckily, we got to watch all three of these guys' careers. One thing I think was really interesting, and maybe it's something we can carry over and talk about in the next segment, is one thing that his wife said during her comments during the induction, which was explaining why Kobe played all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And why he never wanted to take a day off. His explanation there and what that means to you, Moan, as somebody that played 11 years in the NFL, we're in the era of load management in the NBA, where I believe the worst possible thing that could happen to the NBA this year is for the Nets to win, because they've only had 9 games this season where all 3 of them have played. If they do that, if they go win, then why would we ever watch the regular season again? Why would it ever happen if they could flip that switch and have given us almost nothing this year? Kyrie's thinking about other things, okay, I guess. Harden's hurt sometimes. Kevin Durant's hurt sometimes, but they're also load management. You've got Kawhi Leonard doing the same thing. I understand you got to be fresh for the games that matter, but Kobe's mentality and how that applies to professional athletes, I do want to get Moan's thoughts on that. So we're off and running. 615-737-1045. Some Preds today with Teresa Walker. She'll join us on the program. Dave McGinnis will join us. I saw a report that he was talking to Jim Schwartz this weekend at rookie camp.
Strolling along.
So we'll have him on the program. We'll have your thoughts again. 737-1045 on Twitter at JMart and Ramon. We'll be right back here on 1045 The Zone.
I could care less about Barkley's work.
I understand.
Interact with us live. 1045 The Zone TV. Now on Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope.
Hey, Toro days have extended to the end of May at Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. Deliver professional mowing quality in comfort and style with the Toro Z-Master 2000 HDX. The unique My Ride suspension system, deluxe seats with armrests, keep you comfortable hour after hour, even over rough terrain. And the powerful engine, durable deck, upgraded hydros help you finish more jobs faster. This means you can mow big lawns in less time with Toro zero-turn riding mowers. Pro DNA, the same cut quality and reliability as commercial mowers for a professional-looking lawn. When you're looking for quality parts, products, and the best advice, visit your one-stop Toro shop. That's Dickens Turf and Landscape Supply. Right now, they've got Toro. They've also got fertilizer, seeds, pre-emergence, herbicides, everything that you need to take care of your lawn. Also, keep the pests out of your lawn, whether you're trimming bushes, whether you're cutting grass, Whether you just need some professional advice about some DIY that you want to do at home, if you just want to keep the weeds and insects out of your lawn and landscape, and certainly if you want a professional looking lawn, they've got it all. Toro days end at the end of May, so now's the time to pick up a brand new lawnmower. As we're getting warmer, the humidity's finally starting to go up. You need to make sure your lawn is taken care of. When you're looking for the quality parts, when you're looking for the best products, when you're looking for the top line advice, visit your one-stop shop where the pros go at Stick and Surf and Landscape Supply. 8 locations to serve you: Nashville, Bellevue, Murfreesboro, Brentwood, Lawnmower, Hendersonville, Mount Juliet, Franklin, and Knoxville. Go where the pros go. Go where I go. That's Dick and Surf and Landscape Supply, and always online at dickandsupply.com.
Fire protection, carbon monoxide protection, medical pendants, and alerts. Everyone has different reasons for needing a security system. And you may have been told insurance sometimes requires it. I think we would
could be a disaster. But yesterday it all clicked with my daughter in terms of just
What?
I was not overwhelmed. I was multitasking. I was spinning plates. She actually looked at me last night, smiled, and kind of half laughed. And it's the first time she had done that. And as it happened, I was like, okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
Like as I saw that, this like weird expression popped up on my face.
Yeah.
And it was just me and her in the room at the time. So I was just kind of like, oh.
Yep. There's the bond.
That's my daughter.
There's the bond right there. Went from an alien to, hey, I know you.
Why did your dog show up in my dream this morning?
Zeus or Margot?
Yeah, Margot. I don't know.
She gets around, man.
It's just a random dream for some reason. I'm traveling back home. I'm hauling something from one place to another. I look back on this big old truck. On top of the truck, on top of the box, is Margot. And I'm going, well, I can't drive any further with Margot on the top of the truck.
I appreciate that.
We had to drive back to your place, which is just wherever in this dream, and return Margot back to the Martin household.
Are you gonna have to take Margot because Jason has officially booted Margot to number 3 in his household now? Is this what this is? Number 4 in his household?
Well, she and Smokey had another run-in this weekend.
Oh, see, we knew this was going to happen.
Maybe
what
that
happened with
was it.
Margot and Smokey?
I mean, nothing really happened. I took a shot of it where she's like peering over a coffee table because I've got Smokey on the coffee table just to see what would happen. Hilarity ensued.
Hey, man.
Hilarity ensued. All right, so here's what Vanessa Bryant said on Saturday that I found interesting that applies across pro sports. The reason Kobe played all the time was because he remembered the thrill of being able to go to games early in his life when he didn't have a ton of money and all of that kind of stuff. And he thought about, what about that family, that kid that wants to see me, saves up all year, they get one game, they show up, I'm not there. He was fully aware of how big a star he was. And it wasn't arrogant to say that. It was right. Because when you come from when you go on the road, you can look at, I remember this a couple of years ago, the Grizzlies, for example. Like I looked at going to see a couple of Grizzlies games. It was like $4 or $6 to get in that building on the secondary market. Like
Wow.
no, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
And then Golden State would come to town, and it was $120 to sit in the top of the place. Or the Lakers would come to town when LeBron showed up, and it was $200. Like, it still costs money,
Yes.
even in markets where you can go see a regular game affordably when superstars come to town. And Kobe wanted to be sure that he didn't disappoint a bunch of kids that showed up wanting to see Kobe Bryant. And yeah, that sounds narcissistic and arrogant, but he's Kobe Bryant. I would have wanted to see him, and he probably realized, yeah, I would have wanted to see me because he was that big a superstar. He was a big enough celebrity that you didn't even have to use his last name in order for people to know who you were talking about, even those that didn't watch the sport, even people that weren't NBA fans at all knew Kobe.
100.
The same way anybody that didn't watch pro wrestling still knew Andre the Giant, still knew Hulk Hogan, still knew The Rock.
Kobe ain't wrong in that assessment, man, because now it's almost like a crapshoot to see the stars play in the away city. It's hard. And sometimes for the home team, man.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes for the home. And it sucks for us here, and we can relate to what Kobe said more because we have Memphis, a small market team. Small market, mid-market team. They got a stud in Ja Morant. If you put him in New York, pretty much global almost in a sense, man, with the type of athlete he is, the type of player he is. But in Memphis, they don't have a whole lot of national success. So when you get an opportunity to see the big stars coming into town, they're going to fill that arena up. FedEx Forum, they're going to fill it up. And I've been in a situation where we bought tickets to a Grizzlies game against Golden State. And we were just hoping, praying we got a chance to see Steph, KD, and Draymond. And luckily for us, we did. And it was a show, and I appreciated it. And this was probably the beginning of, this might have been 16, 17 when we went down. And it was almost the beginning of, like, load management. So we didn't really know if they were going to start playing or not. And let me tell you, my kids were amazed seeing them in the front, like just watching them, seeing how big they were, how skilled they were. So to have a guy like Kobe that gave us all to the game, in that sense of you paid money for your tickets, and I'm the show, and I'm going to give you a show.
I realize I have a responsibility to the league. Yeah, you have a responsibility to your team, to the
your
thing
health.
that's making you all this money, right?
Yes.
And then you have a responsibility to the mechanism that allows you to make that money. And the mechanism that allows you to make that money is fans willing to come see you. And they don't know when they buy tickets that that's the night you had planned to take off. And I know that sometimes it can't be helped and an injury happens and all that kind of stuff. But there was something about Kobe there that I hope is the case across as many athletes as we can see, whether it's in the NHL, in the NFL, and Major League Baseball, an understanding of the responsibility that comes with the power of being that big an athlete and that big a star is that you've got kids that you're going to send home weeping and crying, and adults you're going to send home incredibly disappointed. The price doesn't change if you buy those tickets early or if you make your plans early. So he would play hurt at least for a little while just so people could see him, just so you could say, yes, I saw Kobe Bryant play. I respect the hell out of that.
100%. And I know, of course, the league has evolved. Guys are spending millions a year just on their body. The importance of just getting to the show. I think we're starting to see a little bit of this, too, even in the regular season, Jay. You mentioned it about Brooklyn a second ago. As we speak about the NBA, of course, this is a segue from the Hall of Fame speech and everything else that went on this past weekend for the guys and females that went into the Hall of Fame. But when you mention how important is the regular season if Brooklyn wins it? Or let's say the Lakers make it to the finals also. When they are almost a play-in at this point, and let's say they go to the finals, well, how important is it? It's one of those things where if it's a slippery slope of saying you're going to lose the regular season. The TV contracts won't be worth them much, and we only want to watch the playoffs. So why are we even having 82 games at this point?
There's no point. If we end up with Lakers and Nets in the finals. After, again, this is the year you don't need, and I'm going to say this because the NBA desperately needs this. The NBA needs to create a league in which all these teams that we watch have great regular seasons actually do something in the playoffs. We need a Denver or a Utah or one of those teams, Portland perhaps. We need Phoenix. We need somebody. We don't really – I understand you probably need either the Lakers or the Nets in the finals for television numbers. But for the state of the league, if I'm Adam Silver, I'll give it up this year. I'll give up whatever television numbers. Look, the television numbers aren't great in the NBA right now anyway. I need to create a league in which it looks like one of these other teams actually has a chance. Because if you get to the playoffs and you get these guys that have had to take a ton of time off and then just flip a switch and go win a championship, then you don't have a season. You have 6 weeks. Everything changes. So color me as one that is hoping to see massive chaos in the NBA postseason, which is just basically about to begin. Rookie camp began this weekend, and the Predators start playing tonight. And they're underdogs, Moan.
Of course.
Without speaking specifically to hockey, how often were the Steelers underdogs during your time there going into the playoffs, and how many times was a ton expected annually when you guys made the postseason?
We weren't underdogs a lot. If we were playing the Patriots, possibly. But any other time, Baltimore, it would almost be an even line of +1, -1, which is that's not a whole lot. But for the most part, we were front runners in the sense of being able to play the game. The analysts, though, would pick us to lose those games. We'd see the pregame. We see the commentary. You guys can't do this. You guys can't do that. But the beauty about the playoffs, though, when you have a competitive league, when you're playing all the way up, you're kind of familiar because you're playing conference teams at that point. It's all gas, no breaks, Jason. Every single game. And I know NHL, NBA, they have series, though. So I can only imagine what type of content is built up when it comes down to it as far as saying you can't beat them or you're the underdog, so you shouldn't win this series, man. As an athlete, a guy that's been in those situations where you've been counted out, where you've been in hostile environments as the Preds go to Carolina this today, while they play tonight, there is nothing more as a competitor that you want to go in a hostile environment, be an underdog, and prove people wrong. And this is where the Preds flourish. This is where they got to thrive, and this is where they got to be if you're going to be that type of team that throws the NHL on his head. That's a good place to be in as a player because the expectations, honestly, is low for you.
Yeah.
So you really, I hate to say you have nothing to lose because you do, but when it comes to selling out, Jay, absolutely nothing better, man.
Yeah, the good news for the Predators, and I think Schaefer could back me up on this as well. Like, Moan, you were paying attention in Pittsburgh a lot of the time up there, and even though the three of us do, root for that team, when you look at the Predators never really handled expectation well. They didn't handle success well. They got fat and happy. It seemed like they became very entitled. I've had that conversation with Teresa Walker, who we'll have later on the show. I've had that conversation with her in the past. But when they were underdogs and nobody was paying attention to them, they became awfully dangerous. Some of those guys are still on this roster. Some are not, but a lot of them are. And one key factor in that run was Pecorine being so dominant, Shafe.
Yeah.
And here, the best player on your team is again between the pipes. It's UC Saros. And when you've got goaltending going the way that it has been for Nashville as of late, you've certainly got a chance here.
Yeah, when you go back to that team, back to 2017, because that's the parallel that everyone wants to draw for obvious reasons, because that team ended up going to a cup final, they kind of limped into the playoffs, and there was no expectations whatsoever. And then they go up against the Chicago Blackhawks, one of their biggest rivals, and sweep them. Just totally destroyed them and knocked them out of the playoffs, and that got everybody's attention. You went, whoa, what's going on here? And then that's a team that seemed to coalesce at the right time and go on a run. This team, they won the two last regular season games. We were at the next to last one, the penultimate one. That's the game that we were up in the suite, and they blew out Carolina in that final game, which I didn't think really meant a whole lot to Carolina.
No.
This is a really good Carolina Hurricanes team. They are going in as the heavy favorite and should go in as the heavy favorite because they've been dominant all year long. But it does fit that narrative of the plucky Predators, and there's some fans that are cringing me saying that, but that's the most successful narrative they have had.
That's right.
So they're going in with expectations being very low nationally, maybe even just as much here locally, went on a great run in order to get into the playoffs, and when you have a hot goaltender, you perhaps can knock somebody off, and that may be this series. I don't think that's what's going to happen because I think Carolina is clearly better.
Yeah, they were 0-5-1 this year
Oh,
before those last two games against Carolina.
Yeah,
I mean, Carolina is
I think Carolina's
easily win it all.
They're a legitimate cup contender.
Absolutely.
But does that mean the Predators are completely out of it? No, not in the NHL when puck luck plays a big factor, especially in the playoffs.
It really does. Again, I've made this point before. Some people disagree with me. I know there's a lot of skill involved in hockey. I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting that ice is a very uncertain, unpredictable surface compared to all the other pro sports and what they play on. Hardwood and stuff, you know how it's going to react. Ice is just kind of weird.
Yeah.
That's where puck luck comes in. There's a lot of stuff that can just shift around, and that's a small puck, and you can lose it for half a second, and then you've got trouble. Here's my – you tell me if I'm off base with this. I think the Predators are kind of like Georgia football. And this is what I mean by that. When no one is paying attention, they're as good as you ever want to see. They can turn it on. They love playing from behind. But once they're number one, or once they're in the championship game with the lead in the second half, then they don't know what to do with themselves. Eventually, one of those two franchises you would expect, whether it's Georgia football or whether or not it's the Predators, eventually they would cash in a chit down the line. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but two pretty well-run organizations. But this is the Predators that I would feel very uneasy about if I was Carolina. Carolina, as good as they are, no one's expecting the Predators to do anything. And that's when you're at your most dangerous because what do you have to lose if you're Nashville? Nobody was talking about you 8 weeks ago. Now
they were dead in the water.
Now you've got now you got a fourth line that's doing work. You've got John Hines that has really turned it around the back half of the season, and you've got the goaltender of the present and the future handling business for you with a great save percentage, and just a few bounces go your way, you steal one in Carolina, and you come back home with a hot goalie to that building, it could get ugly real. I mean, it could get real quick for Carolina.
Yes, it could, man. It never beat Georgia in football, man. That is they always are good.
Rule for life.
Rule for life.
Don't be Georgia.
Don't be Georgia. And they're great first-round draft picks, good winning record percentage, everything that you want. The program is ran well. We'll see if they have some implications with this Tennessee investigation. But aside from that, they're ran well, and you never just want to be them because they can never just get over the hump. And you want that for this team here in Nashville.
You don't want it for the one in Athens.
No.
But you'd be cool with it happening for the one here.
We're here in Nashville, 100%.
Mooney tweets us at JMart and Ramon. Went to see Luka and Kristaps a couple years ago with the Mavs. They both sit out. Went and saw Kobe his last season. He played and scored 20.
That's all you want.
Yep.
That's all you want. So also is what you want too if they can go to Carolina and get a win, come back here. Are you going to pack this arena out, Jay?
What? I don't know what the capacity situation
12,000.
is. Okay,
12, still 12?
So it's going,
well,
it's
over
not
12.
still. I mean, it was like,
I thought it was 12 last time.
no. It was like 7,000 or 8,000.
It was getting bumped up to 12.
Yeah.
It's not going any higher than that. Even though
Open the dome up, man. Come on.
I'm not disagreeing, man.
I know they don't have one to open up, but somebody get a can opener, please.
Just grab a hacksaw and just chop the roof off
Yeah.
of Bridgestone.
Because what went on in Knoxville this weekend? Whoo! It was a party on Saturday, at least Saturday. Sunday, too, was a little altercation after the fact with the Vols.
Saturday was definitely fun.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Big time win for the Vols.
Mm-hmm.
That's why those uniforms, that's why you can't find those jerseys right now
Cannot.
anywhere in Knoxville
Ah.
because of what those boys are doing on the diamond.
By the way,
Go
speaking
ahead.
of jerseys, so too, the what was it? The Winter Classic, Preds jerseys, fire. Need one. Those look good.
They have those for sale, man.
I didn't see them.
I don't think you went into the store, did you?
Nope, but I'm going now though.
You're going to need to go into a place, an establishment that might sell jerseys in order to find the one you're looking for.
Hey, I didn't see them. Nah, I didn't go into the store.
But when I saw
you know what? I heard Black Widow was out. Couldn't find it when I went to the restaurant. Maybe you need to go to the movie theater, man.
No, when we had our ice cookout, we were busy talking too much afterwards. I knew the store was closed by the time I recognized it. It wasn't?
When we were
Even
leaving
other
to go
than
into my
Merritt, I
car, it was
missed it.
still open. Because
I
I
just
wanted to
missed
go in. Schaefer's like, you can do it another time.
He don't.
Actually, I didn't. I was like, I meant to go in there and didn't have time. But it's open all week, not
we
just
were
the
in
games.
the same boat, man.
There it is. 615-737-1045. 737-1045. You can take the conversation with us today wherever you want. We got a lot to get to today. Coach Mac's going to join us. Teresa Walker's going to join us. You can join us as well. Tweet us at JMart and Ramon. We're back in 5 on 104.5 The Zone.
The 3HL. Yeah, we're not really down with the hip computer lingo yet.
Wait, it's not an argument. The right word is GIF.
Because I argued with you about it once, and you were right. I looked it up. You were right.
The 3HL with Brent Doherty, Don Davenport, and Ron Slay. This afternoon starting at 3 on 104.5 The Zone.
Guys, listen up. Have you been struggling with ED? Well, I have great news. There's finally a treatment for ED that does not require pills, injections, or surgery. This is a medical breakthrough. Hillside Medical Clinic provides the most advanced form of acoustic wave therapy designed to improve blood flow and reverse ED and restore natural performance in the bedroom. This form of treatment has been studied extensively and proven to be extremely effective in the treatment of ED for all ages. If you want to put a stop to your ED and restore natural
Mickey was excited about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that got the quarterback up, 13 carries in a game for 54 yards. I mean, it still looked like an FCS game, but it looked like a good one.
It was
entertaining. It was dramatic.
very dramatic. I'll say that some of those hits that quarterback from Sam Houston took are penalties in the NFL.
No question.
Those refs let them kids play. There's one time he got sandwiched, man, and put on his back. I was like, golly. The ball was gone for about a half a second. He was still getting popped in the mouth, man. I'm surprised they didn't alter that. But can I be honest, Jay? I enjoyed watching it, though.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh, they hitting the quarterback. Like, yeah, I mean, it's one of those things like load management. Like, speaking about what the NBA and the NFL is like load management, protecting your quarterback every single play he's out there. Like, come on, man. They're football players, too. I get it, but a couple of those shots, Jay, took us back to like 2004, 2010, before it really got out of hand where you can't touch the quarterback. It was refreshing.
At least he got up from it.
Yeah, he did.
7,840 people showed up. It was 50% capacity. They dealt with the rain delay. The mask mandate's been eased, thank God. And so people are feeling more safe. Hotels were all booked up. Like, this was a very small version of what we're about to get in the fall. And we've spoken to numerous people. All of us just miss the experience of a full building for live sports. I wish we had that for the playoffs in the NHL here in town. I hope that the capacity can raise, and I hope the team plays long enough for the capacity to raise.
Yeah.
Again, at least, because you need to be at a playoff game for the Predators. Schaefer and I can tell you this. Like, you need to be there when it's full because it's something special.
I've been to a few Penguins when it was full there. And hockey, the fans, because I feel like if you're going to a playoff game in hockey, like, you're not just a spectator. You're in it. You're all about everything hockey. You fully understand it. You know what's going on. You see the plays being made. Like, the hockey purists that go to playoff games and the environment they deliver when a puck is scored or a big play is, like, it is out of this world, man. And just in general, there's nothing like playoff sports, period. From football, NBA is still pushing through, but March Madness is playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, watching baseball late fall. Like, it's nothing better about it. So here in Nashville, where it's all entertainment all the time, you got to be a part of it, man. And it's I'm looking forward to seeing how this plays out here in Nashville, too.
Cousin Mike tweets us, and he says, look, I agreed with this because it's impossible not to have thought this while you're saying this, and I've mentioned this in the past. Why don't y'all just say the Titans and Preds have the same problem? They both fall short when they get the spotlight. Both Nashville teams. It sucks, but proof is in the pudding. Look, whenever you get that, we talked about this last week, you have to make the most of your opportunities in prime time if you're the Titans. Like, you've got to win those games where people are paying attention to you when you're on a streak of winning 2 or 3 in a row, and then you have a solid opponent. You can't go lay an egg like that first half against the Browns or something like that. If they put you in prime time, then you can't go get blown out. Those are games that are important. I do think Vrabel has done better with this. If you look at a playoff run a couple of years ago, knocking off Lamar, knocking off Tom Brady in his last season in New England, like, there were some wins there in a row. But I don't know how serious people were taking Tennessee in either one of those games.
No.
And so they kind of still had the underdog role attached to them. Then they played against Kansas City, and Kansas City was just way better than everybody on earth, and it wasn't going to matter there at all. But yes, there's absolutely truth to this. The Titans and the Predators do tend to play better when nobody's paying attention because they're like, all right, we'll show you. But then when the spotlight's on, they're like, well, it's a little bright. A little bit bright. Let's back that one down just a little bit. There are a few guys that still stand up in the spotlight for both those franchises. But as a whole, the organizations, it tends to be mediocre in the results.
I got a question, and it's for our listeners, too, our family that's listening to us. Are you okay with Nashville sports being under the radar when you expect them to be known by everybody? That's a question, because as much as we want to brag about the Titans, look at the primetime games. You know, as much as we want to be excited about the Predators, ask yourself, like, who really believes in them to win?
Yeah.
But they still excel.
It's a good question. So it's one you can address with us at 615-737-1045. or on Twitter at JMart and Ramon. We'll continue with this line of inquiry coming off of Cuzzo Mike's tweet when we come back here on JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Your Nashville Predators are in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Nashville's first chance to react after every game with Will Bowling on 104.5 The Zone TV. This is your home for the best Predators playoff coverage. 104.5 The Zone.
It's playoff time. Big stakes, bigger promotions. It's time to hammer the over and score some cash. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you a chance to lower the over-under on a featured playoff game. All players who place a bet on a featured playoff basketball game will have a hand in lowering the over-under of that game. That's right. For every 1,500 players who bet on the over on the select basketball game, the over-under will drop by 1 point. And it's simple. Every bettor who hammers the over in the featured game helps to lower the game's over-under. The best part is that even as the line lowers, the odds remain at even money. So you can double your money by hammering the over. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Simply this. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code WGFX to sign up to hammer the over. For every 1,500 people that bet the over in the featured game, the line would decrease by 1 point. Yes, this is your chance to improve the odds of the over hitting. So tell your friends and family this is a team effort. Hammer the over and improve your odds of doubling your money. That's promo code WGFX for a limited time only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 years and older and present in Tennessee to bet. Restrictions apply. It's a max of $25 wager. One per customer. Offer ends 5/23/21. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
This is Boomer Science with the CBS Sports Minute. Sponsored by Cordell and Cordell Fair Divorce for Men. Visit dadsdivorce.com. Medina's Spirit was first across the finish line at the Kentucky Derby, but then was caught with 21 Pico
but I have no idea what it's to because I only saw it when I logged in, so I don't know what's happened before.
Oh, who was it? Josh Stone, 1468, said he's sitting at a graduation right now listening to us this morning. And he's actually graduating from Mercer University. So congrats to you as you listen in on us, man.
Graduation on Monday morning? That's interesting.
I don't know what he's got going on, but apparently he's got it going on. So, Jay, take him for his word, unless he's lying. Then we got to put him in a dark room. Flick the light on
I
and
don't
off.
think. Wait a second.
We're not going that far with him?
I assume that. I mean, that's a. I don't know why you would lie about that. Like, if you're going to lie, you probably lie better, right?
I would hope
we need a better class of liar.
It could be a department graduation. There's usually early, and then they'll do the university graduation later. So, I mean, it's still kind of early. But, hey, Mercer University graduating class. Congratulations. Right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're listening to us.
Yeah,
I'm glad they're graduating, too.
If he comments on this, let us
if he's
know
in person,
still
that's
listening.
great because last year you probably weren't.
Definitely wasn't in person last year.
So, the Predators start tonight against the Canes. The Titans, we've seen what they've done in the last few years. Cousin Mike tweeted us and kind of backed up the point that I was making, which is that the fact that the Predators are such an underdog, according to most. I think Alex Doherty of A to Z Sports said, in the 6 games they played prior to these last few, they didn't belong on the same ice. They didn't look like they belonged on the same ice. That's how much better Carolina was than they were. But the Predators, when no one's paying attention to them, when they are full-on underdogs, tend to be awfully dangerous. There are a lot of teams like that. I compared them to Georgia football in the same way. Georgia goes and beats Auburn when nobody thought they were going to do it. Then they went back to Georgia and lost immediately to somebody else. And then they lost in the title game in the SEC. Or they get to Alabama in the championship game, and they've got a big lead, and then they go away from what gave them that lead. Then Tua comes in. They panic, and they lose the championship game. They find a way to lose when the expectations have grown. Mm-hmm. When you actually believe in them, that's when they fall short. And Mike basically was saying not just the Predators, but the Titans, which we've talked about. Now, the last couple of years, the Titans, look, they won the division this past year. They won a lot of games these last few years. They're trying to turn that mentality around, and there's no shame in losing to Kansas City 2 years ago. This year against Baltimore, I just didn't know how I felt about either one of those teams going into the playoffs. They both had holes, but Tennessee's defense, I mean, what were you really going to expect based on what the defense had done all year long? But the bigger question is just how do you handle expectations? And is it true that Nashville tends to be a sports city where expectations don't usually work out too well for the home team?
In the sports world.
Right.
Yeah, in the sports world. And we did a side poll asking, have you ever met anybody who hasn't had a great time here in Nashville? Which is of the belief that you want them to be in the same line as the city, where it's buzzing. Everybody's excited about it, but it doesn't fall that way for the sports team. And you got to ask yourself, and I'm looking at comments on Twitch is from Dark Goof, I guess is what he's calling his name. He's like, yeah, because it's make it where you can still get excited and always expect to win. With that, you can do something outside the box. Key Mike Vrabel. I guess with him knowing the playbook, knowing the rule book inside and out, knowing how to call time out and waste time and stuff like that, take penalties. But there's got to be you got to get to a point with all of the sports team here in the city to where you say, we expect to win. There's a standard that, look, we're above 500 at all times. Making the playoffs is an easy thing for us, and we expect to be in that conversation when it comes down to winning championships here. Again, both teams have been close. AFC Championship 2 years ago for the Titans at this point right now. 2017 for the Preds as far as making it to the Stanley Cup Finals and still not able to host either trophy. And you got to expect, you got to ask yourself, well, what's the separator in all of these things? It can't be coaching for the most part because we look at Vrabel, yes, he's a young coach, but he's pretty good. Building the team right, having the ability to push over that line is where they got to make the next moves at. And, again, when I played for the team I played for, there was an expectation. The playoffs is a given. It's not just winning the AFC South. It's not just winning, or not just making it past the first round of the playoffs. You got to have higher goals when it comes down to where you want to be. And Nashville deserves a championship if the team is putting itself in a position. You got to think so also, especially with having a franchise quarterback, running back, and skill players now, which is why we continue to ask that question about the Titans. Did they do enough this offseason?
Well, that's a good question, but I think there's another thing here, and that is it possible that the expectations get too high too quickly? And then you actually look at the talent, and you're just like, wait, maybe they actually overperformed, and we need to just back off a little. Because what you're saying, certainly last year, appears to be the case, and they are proving it. At least they want you to believe that because of what they're doing this year. They paid all this money. They spent all this draft capital to fix certain positions. They recognize that. But the moves they made from a coaching standpoint tell you they want you to think it was on the field, not on the sideline, right? That's fair to say.
Yes, it was. And what did they do? I've heard coaches say, I'm going shopping this offseason. And they went shopping this offseason, man.
They did.
They went and got the Jimmy and Joes and said, you know what? It's not about what we got going on. As you said a second ago, it's just about what y'all got going on. And that sucks if that's going to be the narrative, though, too. Because at the end of the day, the product that you have, the guys you believe in, those are the most important things. If they're moving away from that and saying we're the aces when it comes to winning and losing games, then that sucks for this organization. Because you got to do better in that sense. Or you got to look at, hey, John Robinson, what are you actually doing as far as putting this team together? We have a comment right now. It's a funny name on Twitch, Jay, if you want to read it. General Hambone.
Oh, yeah, I see it now.
You see that? And then that's the thing, too. I found here this fan base is quick to move to the next thing. It's like, nah, if you're going to be in all the way. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm looking forward to going to these tailgates. I'm willing to see how much y'all sell out for this Tennessee Titans football team, and also watching the playoff game with the Preds and the Canes. Like, that is something I want to see, how much you sell out to it, or is it woe is me all the time? It can't be that all the time. You got to be excited, good, bad, or indifferent when it comes down to your teams.
Look, I'm excited for the puck drop tonight. I'm excited to watch this. I'm excited to see how far this team can go and whether or not we just had a nice little run for the last 6 or 8 weeks, or if there's going to be more to it. And, we asked Emily Proud when she was on with us last week, we said, is it a success already? If they just go out and get beat by a better team in the first round and that's it. But they made it interesting. She said, no, they've got to get a couple of rounds.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that would say, no, it's a success today. I tend to agree with Emily Proud.
Overrun on this game is 5. Who's going to have the majority of that? Can the Preds win on the road tonight? I mean, they've proven they can hang with them, but you got to ask yourself, in the last couple games that they had against Carolina, was Carolina just trying to cruise to a finish? Will they actually get the best of Carolina tonight, and who's going to come out on top? They can still win on the road, Jay, they're ahead, especially if they're coming back here and you get over 12,000 people in the Stone. Like, that's a good place to be at.
You just need it to become a party again. Schaefer put this in our Slack, and I have asked this question before. Is Nashville a great sports city or a great party city where the sports flourish and become the best party in town? What happened to the Predators was when they started to win and Bridgestone became so loud, then it became the place to be. Yeah. It became the happening spot, and then you would go straight from Bridgestone to Broadway, and you were down there.
Party.
And that's why I think it would be tough for baseball or something like that, because I just don't see an outdoor baseball stadium becoming, because of so many regular season games that would be required, I don't see that becoming the biggest party. Everybody's on the search for the biggest party, whether or not that's a concert that night, whether or not it's someone's appearance somewhere, whether or not it's somebody doing stand-up somewhere. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, the biggest party in town was Chris Rock at Zany's on 8th, preparing new work for a comedy album, kind of pop-up shows. I went to that.
Yeah.
That was the biggest party in town that night. Nashville's going to find it, and they're going to be there. The Predators, Sean Henry, to his credit, and everybody with the Predators organization did a great job of making it into a party, making it into – it was basically like Florida, Georgia, and the greatest outdoor cocktail party. That's what it felt like going to a Preds game. That's what they need back.
What was it when we went last week?
It was a lot of fun.
It was
getting there, and there were only 7,500 people in the seats, give or take.
But it sounded, I mean, like you said, they've created an atmosphere, a party-like atmosphere. And, of course, we had fun in the suite, but even in the stands, you could feel it.
Yeah, it was. It was. And that's why. And Carolina recognizes this.
Yeah, buddy.
If Nashville can steal one from them in Raleigh, nobody wants to have to come here and win.
No.
Because it's not easy to win in this building, especially with fans starting to trickle back in and the capacity limits going up a little bit. It becomes electric. And it becomes, look, a lot of people like to play in the building because it's fun to play in the building, other teams. But
when it's loud, when you see the home team juicing up, when you see the home team like, oh, there's a different move. Like, look, they're skating different.
That's the other. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Out there without a stick. That's the exact same thing. I'm making the argument of the Predators in Georgia. Playing between the hedges in Athens, it's fun, but it ain't easy.
It ain't easy.
At all. 615-737-1045, 737-1045. Moan's secondary poll at Ramon Foster this morning is, have you ever met anybody that's been to Nashville, or are you somebody that has come to Nashville and didn't like it, didn't have a good time while you were here? I think the list is awfully small, at least my list is. I can't even think of somebody who didn't like it that has come here to visit me or visit anybody. We'll be right back. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Buck really dislikes your naked feet.
You know, people's feet are disgusting to me. That's why I get pedicures, because feet need to be taken care of. And if you don't take care of your feet, like, I think less of you as a person.
The Buck Rising Show. Today, starting at 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's JMart. Wouldn't it be great to know you always have enough hot water for everyone? And, like, you know, you're jumping in the shower in your third. It could be a crapshoot in your house. But no matter how many showers are being taken at once, Lee Company can fix it for you because they can install a tankless water heating system that's going to provide never-ending hot water whenever and wherever you need it. You don't have to worry about cold showers again. You don't have to worry about any of that. You don't have to sit around for a couple of minutes waiting for it to warm up. Along with providing a constant flow of hot water, this technology helps reduce your electric bill because it's going to lower energy consumption. That right there is a big deal. Best of all, you can save money up front on getting it installed and getting one in your home, and then you can start saving month after month after month. Right now, you can get $500 off or 0% financing on a brand new tankless water heating system from Lee Company. I'm telling you, this thing is a game changer. It's a life changer for you and your family. I want you to take advantage of it while you can save $500,000 off right now, or 0% financing, like I said, on a new tankless water heating system from Lee Company. Call them today, 615-567-1000. That's 567-1000, or visit them online at leecompany.com. If you put leecompany.com/promotions in that search bar and go there, you'll find out all the cool things they can do for your home for less, including $500 off or 0% financing on a new tankless water heating system. One more time, 567-1000 or leecompany.com.
Switching your car insurance to Geico is both easy and could save you hundreds. It's the best of both worlds. Like a butcher with a sense of humor. A co-meat Ian.
Well, I'd tell you a joke, but I'd probably butcher it. The stakes are too high.
yeah, it's true. Like the Vol Twitter kind of, I guess you would say, stereotype that some of the folks also overlap and are similar in the way that they pull for pro teams. And it's still a minority of the people that pull for those teams, but it is a perception. I don't think that the teams are over-promising. I think that the fans are over-expecting.
Mm-hmm. There's a fine line between both of those, too. So, it's playoff time. Preds got to get it done. Again, there's minimum sports going on with we're watching the Titans as they come out of rookie mini camp this weekend. But again, when the puck drops tonight, Jay, who you got? You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah, and I've got Carolina.
First game at home. I mean,
and I don't mean just tonight. I mean, I could see the Predators winning one and making this interesting, making it a 6-game series. But if I actually had to pick, I'd say Canes in 5. I just think they're a better team.
Yeah. What is the majority of them? Most of the analysts have chosen the Canes to win.
Of course. Jack is in Nashville. He's up with us here on the show. Jack, what's going on?
Hello?
Yeah,
Morning,
I'm here.
Jack.
Hey, I wanted to ask Ramon if he could spell ask.
Hey, can I spell ask? Yeah, I do. I was wondering, could you spell get off the phone line?
Yeah, well, that was off. That was off awfully quickly.
Yeah,
Appreciate that, brother.
Good.
Hope that was worth it.
Yeah. But, yeah, it's going to be a really good one tonight anyway. It's the first game of the series, though, Jay.
Yeah.
When it comes up. So
series is different. I mean, series is different. You obviously didn't experience that in the NFL. NFL was one and done. And so a lot of times you do get the opportunity to get some new blood through a little bit deeper than maybe otherwise. Like usually that's the problem in a lot of these other sports is it is harder to beat the better team 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 7 times as opposed to any given Sunday, as the old adage goes. So it changes up, and I wasn't referring to the movie there, but we can do that if you want to. Talk about that inch.
I'm when he spit on his lip.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's going to be exciting. I want to see what the views is going to be like, the ratings during the game, man. But where are we at? You got the Canes. I'll take Canes tonight. We're going to see how it all works out, though.
Yeah.
All right, home for the first time.
I think the easiest one for the road team to steal is the first game. So I could see Nashville winning tonight. And if they do, then I'll say the series goes 6. I just think the Hurricanes are a better team. Could I see a universe in which Nashville wins? Sure, because I can see a universe where anybody wins at any given time on any given day. Sports is unpredictable, or we wouldn't have any reason to talk about it.
But listen to the Nashville crowd, though. This is exactly where you want the Predators to be.
Underdog is a very favorable role for Nashville to play historically, and that's a positive. You mentioned Titans rookie camp this weekend.
Yeah.
You saw a little bit, right? I mean,
saw a little bit of it. We saw a couple of the videos pop out that Jim White had put out at TennesseeTitans.com and Buck and some of those guys over at A to Z and everything else. It seems as if all the rookies want to be there. Caleb Farley can't practice. I'm not going to say anything about that because we knew he wasn't going to be practicing yet. Exactly. He's doing everything he can. He's studying the playbook. He's part of all this kind of stuff. Rashad Weaver was the most interesting thing to me. I know.
6'4" with long arms at 259, I think, as a linebacker. But just being there and what Vrabel had to say was really just, yeah, we're taking this seriously, but we're going to let this play out. And I think that's the right tactic to make. Like, as soon as they find out there's something legit here, then they'll pull him. But until that point, why would they not just – there's not anything for them to do unless they have some conclusion that the legal system hasn't come to yet.
He basically said that he don't have the answers for it right now.
Which is what you should say.
And just I'll say this too. Looking at him though, Rashad Weaver, he looks like a player. He's a big kid, man. Like legitimately, I see why he has some talent. Again, you hope that this situation isn't true, number one, or that he's proven innocent. With everything that happened with him on those Pittsburgh streets, man. So he is a type that you can tell they were looking for, and they were able to get him. 4th-round draft pick is nothing to just sneeze at, man. This is a kid that, if available, he's going to be nice. Again, they gave him 99. I was reading up on that, Jarrell Casey's old number. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure that's not one that's just passed out easy. 2 9s right there, man. So I'm looking for, if he has the ability to make this roster and be on this team and not be on the commissioner exempt list, that he's going to be somebody that's able to help them again. Having Bud come back from this ACL, you don't know how, their timeline going to be, because they have a training staff, medical staff that's err on the side of caution when getting guys back. You talk about Caleb Farley a second ago. They say he's in the training room just rehabbing. He's trying to get in the best shape of his life. So he's just got to wait and see. Rashard Weaver is a kid that you think is going to be able to have the ability to help out early on, especially with the detail that he was getting from Mike Vrabel looking at the video that was put out there this past weekend. That shows a lot that, look, he's just looking at the football player right now. Let the legal side handle itself and move forward from there.
I think it's the right tactic, because there's no reason for them to think anything else until there's a conclusion. You just act prudently. You act smart. You act the way most teams and most businesses would in this case, and I think this is probably the appropriate tactic to take. Rookie camp, what are your memories of that, Mo?
Nervous. I'm talking about not knowing anything about anything.
Do you feel like everybody's watching you?
Heck
Do you feel
yeah.
like all the coaches, they're just like, there are, because you always get that, look, you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. This is the first time they're going to see you after they've drafted you.
Yep.
Like, now they've got you. Now they want to start teaching you things and seeing where you are and all that kind of stuff. You almost feel like, I would imagine, it's just like people all have binoculars directly on you on every second that you're out there.
And I would say this for the first time, and I think in my career, going to an NFL team that had cameras not just in the sky, like, at the podiums around or at the posts around the practice field, but they have them individual. They have them in every little thing that you do. So you literally been watched at every single thing that you do. And all you can think is, man, did college prepare me enough? Am I the athlete that they're looking for? Am I the guy that has the ability to make this team? No lie, hands down, one of the most nerve-wracking, unsure moments in your young professional career. Because you look at the draft picks, too, it's like, yeah, he's good. I say when you get to about the 6th or 7th round guy, though, you start measuring yourself towards him. It's like, can I do this? Can I do that? At that point, we didn't have a whole lot of just media coverage around us as far as having video and stuff like that at practice, but the coaches let you knew everything. And you just hope that you weren't falling behind each and every day that you were out there. Those kids, man, that went to the Titans mini camp this weekend, I'm sure it was tiresome. I saw one of the young kids end up cramping up and had to be removed from practice for a little bit. And it probably wasn't the fact that he was out of shape. It was probably due to the fact that he was just so excited and wound up that he didn't think about drinking water. He didn't think about doing anything else other than just selling out for the coaches.
Mm-hmm.
That is something that goes crazy whenever you're auditioning for a job. I mean, there's not much that you can do other than perform. And like I said, you hope that your university did a really good job of preparing you. That's one thing that I will give the University of Tennessee. There's a few things I'll give them, but
I would hope so.
Yeah, no.
As you wear the power tee today.
I got the tee on today. But they prepared us well. As far as the physical side of it, learning technique is something that every coach is different for the most part. But the physical side of expecting what's to come for you in those mini camp sessions against players from other cities and schools and states and whatnot, UT did a very good job of preparing me for what happened in my pro career.
So when you were reading about this, the guy, the one that stood out to me, the one I was just most interested to get, for instance, Jim Wyatt's take on was Des Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Because of that position and how important it is. And I can't think of a position that's more important for a franchise than wide receiver in this kind of NFL that I feel less sure about right now than the Tennessee Titans group. Mm-hmm. So they go grab Racing McMath, certainly, but that's a little bit of a deeper situation. But they get Des Fitzpatrick, and they need him to be pretty good. Mm-hmm. And they need him to be pretty good fairly quickly. And here's what was written at TennesseeTitans.com by our friend Jim Wyatt. He showed off some flexibility during the stretch period. He looks the part. I was impressed with how he caught the ball with his hands during drills. His footwork was also very clean. You didn't see a lot of negatives about him in that day. Like, you never know. Maybe you end up with a gem here from day 3, and we're not talking about not going up and getting somebody else or even trading out of Amari Rodgers. We don't know that for certain, but anything positive that you read about Des Fitzpatrick early from people that you trust that cover this team, That's a good thing because that's the guy whose eyes I have right now because he's going to be on the field.
Yes.
He has to be.
So listening to Blaine and Mickey last week, they had a Louisville reporter that had covered Louisville Cardinals for years. And if you could have heard the conversation that he had about Dez Fitzpatrick.
I heard part of it because they went straight from him to the Monty Rice conversation with the Georgia writer.
And the way this reporter, who has no real allegiance to the person that he was to the University of Louisville, talked very highly of him. He knew that his hands, which was one of his draft knocks, was something he had to work on. He spoke about how he was putting himself in a position to be better at that. He spoke about his speed. He spoke about his leadership. He spoke about his toughness in a way that he kind of sold me on Dez Fitzpatrick, making the Titans coaching staff, scouting department comfortable in drafting him. If you can go back and podcast Blaine and Mickey's show last week, it may have been Thursday.
I think it was Thursday.
It was Thursday. And hear how this Louisville reporter spoke about Dez Fitzpatrick. Again, he's no Corey, okay? He's no Julio.
But he wasn't drafted 5th overall, and whoever when Atlanta paid pretty heavy ransom to go up, if I'm not mistaken, to get Julio.
Yeah.
To trade up so that they can make that selection. And yeah, it's paid off.
It's paid off
nicely for them. But when you grab a receiver in the,
it was the fourth round.
The expectations are going to be lower there, even though they had to trade a few extra picks. They were trading day 3 picks.
But you got to look at the people who saw this kid grow up, who saw this kid be a leader on the team, in which they weren't fighting for conference championships. But he goes from Lamar Jackson to, I'm not even sure who Louisville's starting quarterback is right now, and to still be able to produce. And he was the guy there. When asked about when Blaine and Mickey asked him who's going to have a better career. Who's it? Tutu Atwell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the other Louisville receiver?
Mm-hmm.
This reporter, and I have to get his name just so we're correct on citing it, but he said he has a better outlook on Dez Fitzpatrick than he does Tutu Atwell. And Tutu went in the 2nd round, I think.
And the other thing about Dez Fitzpatrick that you could say, and this was said after he was picked, is, look, that dude was still putting up numbers, and they haven't had a quarterback worth of crap since Lamar left.
Exactly.
But he's still been there putting up numbers after the fact. So clearly he's got some skills and he's got some talent. Well, obviously, I mean, he was drafted by an NFL team in the 4th round. But since Lamar, they've had nobody at quarterback.
I could not tell you who their quarterback is right now, and I probably should be able to, but I
don't
can't.
know if you should or not.
No, I'm probably not. But I'm a firm believer that stars are born every year in this league. Now, I'm not calling Dez Fitzpatrick a star. What I'm calling him is a guy that a few people have confidence in to say that he can fill a position that's needed here in this Tennessee Titans team. Because, again, when you throw the scenarios out of, Julio Jones coming to Nashville, you're going to have to pay a ransom for that still. And I think it was Buck that had Diana Rossini on last week and said there's a 100% chance that's not going to happen.
Yes.
Yes. Are you willing to give up something to give Julio? I'm sure you might be, but I don't think you're willing to give up your whole franchise for a guy that might have maybe 2 years left as far as his prime. Even then, you got to ask yourself, what is his prime now?
It's a question we're going to get an answer to at some point, right?
Yeah.
Josh is in Franklin, Kentucky. Josh, what's up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I'm going along with you guys talking about Nashville in the spotlight and how they underperform sometimes. I was just thinking of the coaches. Maybe, Nashville lets go of coaches a little bit too early because I feel like with Malarkey and Munchak, they performed, they got more out of players that weren't that good and went further. And then you look at the Predators right now, you got coaches right now that might get out of the 1st round and they don't, with Trotz and Laviolette. I mean, is that something that they would have to look at and think that maybe they made wrong decisions on?
Could be. It certainly could be. Those are good thoughts.
Consistency is something that goes a very long way. Having a culture in place. And I will give Coach Vrabel and his staff that. They've created a culture so far that says to us as people who are watching them develop more and more, like they got something. And that's what you need, man. When you walk into a building and you expect something, then you know exactly what to do.
I would say the expect word's important because we talked about the expectations of the fans and sometimes maybe expecting too much based on, what we saw in the past. Maybe there was an overperformance that wasn't taken into consideration. But what I will say is they give off the impression in that building like the expectations are fair to have.
Mm-hmm.
Vrabel does, John Robinson does. There's a bit of machismo to the Titans organization, the way that it's portrayed. They want you to believe that they believe that they're going to go in and get the job done. Now, doesn't mean that they've actually done that in terms of winning a Super Bowl, but it does mean that they've made some positive things happen, and the expectations come off of a very confident sounding head coach and a very confident and competent sounding general manager.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a step in the right direction, no question about it. 615-737-1045, 737-1045. That's the telephone number. We do have your comments now up. Twitch, Facebook Live, Periscope, YouTube. So we can continue to comment on those. We're seeing some people commenting right now on Des Fitzpatrick and things of that nature. So we'll come back. We'll read some of your best. You can get us at 737-1045 or back in 5 on 1045 The Zone.
Your Nashville Predators are in the Stanley Cup playoffs in a best-of-7 series against the Carolina Hurricanes. This is your home for the best Predators playoff coverage. 1045 The Zone.
Hey, it's JMart. Next time you're at home, I don't know if you've noticed doors and windows sticking, cracks in your masonry, your bricks, a bowing basement wall, the chimney's leaning a little bit, your concrete's cracked. All of these could be serious, could be signs of a possible foundation issue with your home. When it comes to foundation repair, nobody does it better than United Structural Systems. They've been doing it here in Middle Tennessee for over 25 years, locally owned, not a franchise, which means they can customize a solution for you, for each homeowner, for you and your family, depending on your specific needs. Better Business Bureau gave them an A+ rating for a reason. I've been talking about them since the fall for a reason. When I started doing these, I said 18,000 satisfied customers. Then a few months ago, it was 19. I said I couldn't wait to say 20. Well, now I can say 20. Now over 20,000 satisfied customers and counting. And here's why they're satisfied. USS comes out. They give you a detailed free estimate on what might be wrong. They diagnose it and tell you what's up before you have to make a decision. Free estimate. So you got nothing to lose. You can find out exactly what's going on with your home as it relates to your foundation issues. You make a decision. You say, all right, yeah, I want you guys to get to work. I trust you. And you should. When they get done with the job, then you once over with them. They make sure that you are fully satisfied, that you understand what was done, that you feel good about everything that's happened before you ever have to pay a dime. There's not anything better than that. You get the finished product before you actually have to pay for it. And it's so much easier when you see the finished product. You'll be so impressed with the work that is done. And if you let this kind of thing go with your foundation issues, it's just going to get worse. And by worse, I mean costly. So give them a call today, 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275. Or visit them online at ussTN.com. It's United Structural Systems.
For 50 years, Farm Bureau Health Plans has been closing the gaps in Medicare coverage. That kind of experience is huge, especially to my health coverage. I found a dental and vision plan to cover what Medicare doesn't. I turned to Farm Bureau Health Plans. With their dental vision plan, I have the best coverage around, covering everything from eyeglasses to dentures. Make your game plan with Dental Vision Silver from Farm Bureau Health Plans. Supreme coverage,
It started off with him and Half Baked, wasn't it? That's what I remember him
long
going
before
on.
that.
Yeah, God.
Long before that. Craig Ferguson, 59 years old today. Former late night host after David Letterman on CBS.
Big Craig Ferguson fan.
He's pretty funny. He can be very funny.
Saw him do stand-up over at T-Pack. Really good show.
Here's a dude that I'm a very big fan of. Trent Reznor turns 56 years old today.
What was he in, the Terminator?
9 Inch Nails. I know that's hilarious. I'm just going to go right past it. He probably was.
But that just sounds. Say that name again.
Trent Reznor.
Terminator. That's all that sounds like. It goes.
He could have done
hand.
music for it back in the day. Jordan Knight is 51. Do you know who Jordan Knight is, Moan?
He was in a movie like Mike.
Do you know who it is, Shafe?
It's an R&B artist.
No.
Brian's brother, McKnight.
Yeah, why
that's
not?
Brian McKnight.
Sure.
Jordan Knight is one of the new kids on the block.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I was actually closer than Ramon was on that.
You were, but I don't think being that close to last. I'm thinking we all lost right there.
We did. We did. Who else we got?
Jim Nance, 62.
Okay.
Sugar Ray Leonard, 65.
Awesome.
Bill Paxton.
Bill
the
Paxton?
late Bill Paxton.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Would have been. I actually don't even have his age in front of me here, but would have been his birthday. What's interesting about this is it says, I'm looking at this from Cleveland.com. It says, other popular or historical birthdays for May 17th. Jim Nance is written here like he's passed away.
But the one that's
I'm pretty sure he's still alive, unless I missed something like yesterday.
We are not doing that on this show. He's alive and well, baby.
Yes.
Hello, friends.
But where it's written, like, I see some of this stuff, and it's like, all right, some big names here. Craig Ferguson, Bob Saget, Trent Reznor, Jordan Knight. I think right about that point in time with Jordan Knight, I'm probably putting Jim Nance in the list and putting Jordan Knight in the other birthdays. I'm certainly putting Jim Nance over Sasha Alexander.
Sasha Alexander? I don't even, I got to look
She's
that up.
48.
She's 48.
She was in an episode of Friends. And then there's actress Nikki Reed, turns 33. Like, great.
Who?
I think Jim Nance is more known than her.
Way more. I don't know. They chose violence in that list. That's all that was.
It's still a pretty good list, though.
Yeah, 100%.
There were some good ones over the weekend that I was sad that we couldn't enjoy.
Who?
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, James Bond.
Deborah Winger, Janet Jackson turned 55 this weekend.
She was trending on social media.
Deborah Winger.
Yeah, I mentioned her. Yeah,
Strong.
Tori Spelling.
Yep.
Megan Fox.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of names. Chris Novoselic, Shafe.
Nirvana.
Yes.
Okay.
I wasn't even going to ask you, Moan.
I was ready too.
I feel like if you had a shot at Jordan Knight and didn't know New Kids, I felt pretty good that you didn't know who Chris Novoselic
I was
was.
about to go B2K.
Ralph Tresvant.
Okay.
Her birthday this weekend.
There we go.
Tracy Gold, Shafe.
Growing Pains?
Okay.
Yes. Do you know what Growing Pains is, Mo?
Growing pains is when I had to go to the doctor when I was like 12 years old, and the doctor's like, "No, there's nothing wrong with your knees. You just have growing pains."
See, that's true. That's true.
You
that's
asked me.
That's right.
Do you know what it is when it's not in reference to you and your health?
This is a TV show.
Yes.
Yay!
Did you guess at that, or were you actually aware
No,
of
I
that?
actually am aware of that.
Danny Trejo also.
Danny Trejo?
Machete.
Yes.
Mm.
You know who that is?
Is it from Karate Kid? Karate Kid.
Hashtag I'm done with you.
What are you talking about? Oh my gosh.
What do you want? What do you want from me, man?
No, it started when I asked the question on social media, about have anybody ever had a bad time in Nashville? And somebody retweeted it and said LeGarrette Blount when he dipped out on us on Thursday night. Whew, that's when it turned over for me.
You feel like telling that story?
I could tell that story. That's a good tease. On top of what happened to the kid at Austin Peay this past weekend.
Yeah,
too,
I want to
man.
talk. I want to talk about that, but I want to do that at the end of an hour. I respect that he said I don't want to tell this story over and over again. So it's not like we're going to reach out to have him on the program or anything because I understand his point. I also hope that this backfires on the person that tried to make this happen and he gets a look just because of this.
Mm-hmm. That sucks.
Absolute trash. If you have not heard the story, we'll talk about that to open the third hour. Also, Coach Dave McGinnis, Teresa Walker still set to join us over the next 2 hours. And you can join us as well at 615-737-1045. Halfway home means we got halfway to go. Good for you. We'll be right back. It is JMart and Ramon here on 1045 The Zone.
The 3HL. We're just a little bit hangry.
You're not getting enough snacks. I'm worried about you.
I need more snacks.
You're going at people.
The 3HL with Brent Doherty, Don Davenport, and Ron Slay. This afternoon starting at 3 on 1045 The Zone.
Really, man?
Dumpster juice.
Absolute garbage. Wontarius Bryant, who played in the secondary at Austin Peay, showed up for Falcons rookie minicamp this weekend in Flowery Branch.
As a lot of people did. The Titans had, who was the Memphis quarterback, had a Vandy wide
They had a lot of undrafted guys there.
Kicker from Ohio State. This happened.
Who might actually have a shot, according to Wyatt. The Ohio
Yeah,
State kicker in
saw that.
particular, he might have a shot.
Tryout thing happens. Alejandro Villanueva is a tryout kid. He went to a regional combine first, so this happens. It's not abnormal. You know what I'm saying?
So, Bryant never was contacted directly by the Falcons, but got a text message from a 404 area code, Atlanta's area code. And the text message said that it was Dean Pease contacting him. So he showed up to get ready for his chance, and he was turned away because the Falcons, there was nothing there. It was a hoax. Somebody trolled him and sent him a text message. I don't even know what to say because he's got to be over the moon. He's getting his opportunity, and then this happens. Now, you look at it, it's like, should he have gotten an opportunity? Well, he began as a walk-on at Austin Peay, but then he was first-team All-Ohio Valley by his senior season. 107 tackles, played 43 games for Austin Peay, 242 tackles, 8 passes defended, 3 forced fumbles, and an interception for ESPN. So it's not like he was not on the field at all. He's the kind of guy maybe you would bring in as part of something like this, like we were just talking about. It's interesting. I mean, look, can you look at it and say, yeah, you probably should have been contacted officially, not just believed a text? Yeah. But we've all gotten hoaxed. We've all gotten got by somebody that doesn't have a check mark by their name on Twitter that you think is legit news. It turns out not to be legit news. We've all been pranked at some point in our lives. The problem here is it's just like your heart's got to be shattered if you're this kid, and screw the person that would do this to anybody.
The person who sent that text message, who thought it was funny enough for them to allow him, even after the joke was done, with them personally, to drive down to Atlanta and to answer some questions around why he drove down to Atlanta. One, Austin Peay is just right here. I'm not sure where he's from.
He's from Nashville.
He's from Nashville. So it's a 3.5, 4 hour drive. That's easy to do. I'm sure if you're within driving range, you're going to drive to those cities, okay? If you're from, let's say, Atlanta, or you played at Georgia Tech, you can drive to Nashville for a trial. Heck, it's a trial. You're giving you an opportunity to be there. So that also makes sense, too. What doesn't make sense, though, is the fact that the person behind this joke, this hoax, didn't at least hit him back. It was like, hey, man, I was playing around. And again, to that point about him having the accolades to be able to do this, get a tryout, this is part of the way it goes. We look at the Titans minicamp that they just had. Who was it? Naquan Jones was the only defensive tackle, I think, that was there. And he was given a shot and an opportunity this past weekend, too, simply because, let's be honest, you got to kind of fill it up with enough bodies to be able to do an offensive versus defensive set for the most part. And that's what you're looking for at this time. And you might find a hidden gem. In a year in which they're trying to find a cheaper way to get under the salary cap, all teams, you find guys who might be hidden gems. He is one of those kids, man, that got screwed over by somebody. And if you are a friend, you are not a friend. If you happen to know him and you're just trying to get some payback on him, still terrible. Do you laugh this morning is what I got to ask you.
Yeah, you would hope there's some level of remorse here after the fact. Again, I don't know, looking at the numbers or anything else, I don't know if he had any inkling that anybody was interested prior to this. If not, if it came out of the blue and he was just super excited and didn't really look into it deeply enough, then you just chalk that up to being young and hungry and wanting your opportunity. Again, I don't know enough about him to know how legitimate his aspirations to potentially get a shot, even undrafted and being brought into a rookie minicamp situation. I don't know that situation.
Yeah, no, it happens, though, too. And the thing is, you got to ask yourself, you know, a lot of people saying, well, shouldn't he have known they should have flew him in? Well, this is the thing, though, too. If you're a young guy, probably without a job right now, just finish up your college career, you can drive there, get reimbursed for gas, and they might give you a little extra coin just simply because the mileage and how they do it. It might cost $100 to get there, and they might give you $350. You see what I'm saying? So it all makes sense on why he drove down. And again, So I had this conversation with my wife, actually. She asked me during the draft when, the guys are picking up the phones and stuff like that. It's like, do they have their personal cell phone numbers, or is there like a portal that they could call the guys through? And it never really dawned on me that anybody can have your phone number. They have these scammer machines where I can take your phone number, Jason, and call somebody else as you, or at least text them as you. That's a possible thing to be done. And this might be pushing it as far as the NFL having a portal where they can directly contact guys, or there's a way to verify that a team is calling a player, because you really don't know. A text message is kind of fishy, but you got to think. There's a lot of stuff that either go through your email, through text. This generation of the way you communicate, it ain't far-fetched. Again, on this type of weekend where he was maybe expecting being an all-OVC player, first team, he probably expected something. And then he correlated with the fact that it's the Tennessee Titans, a team, with the Atlanta Falcons with Tennessee ties, with Dean Pease. Maybe they watched my film. Maybe they did
about that
scout
point.
him.
Maybe, look,
It
there's a
lines
lot here,
up.
and all of it sucks. All of it.
And can I just say this too? If it's on him, in which this is something he's put out there and not being totally true too.
You mean that this is a lie?
I'm just saying, because you got to watch all sides of
Well,
it.
yeah, no, I understand.
You know what I'm saying?
I
But
understand what you're saying.
it sucks regardless.
I will say this. The statement that he put out is very classy, very mature. He even said, look, I don't want this guy's name out there. We don't need to humiliate this guy. I don't want to talk about this anymore. But here's what he wrote. I want to say thank you to everyone who's been in my corner while I've been pursuing my lifelong dream of playing in the NFL. Apparently, the opportunity of attending rookie minicamp with the Atlanta Falcons was not a legit opportunity. Someone contacted me from a 404 area code number pretending to be Dean Pease. I did not realize it was not a legit opportunity until I traveled to the facility for rookie minicamp check-in on Wednesday, May 12th. It's most definitely one of the most embarrassing things that's ever happened to me, and a very humbling experience. Just want to apologize to everyone and the Atlanta Falcons organization for the mix-up. I honestly thought it was a legit opportunity on my end. I do not know or understand why this has happened, but I do know that everything happens for a reason. Yes, this was heartbreaking for me, but just another stepping stone that I'm not afraid to admit or overcome. At the end of this day, this will not make or break me. I will still continue to fight for my dreams because I know it's what I really want. I'm still striving and still in the best shape of my life. When the opportunity presents itself, I will be ready. What I find interesting is, yeah, it's great. Saying it's a humbling experience. You weren't arrogant, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you didn't need to be humbled in this way. Like, we all want to be more humble. And I think a lot of us, at least me, I pray for humility every single day, which reveals just how prideful I really am. But it's not like you were out there touting yourself. You showed up, at least if you believe the story. And if it turns out all of it is legit, you showed up for an opportunity that you felt was legitimate.
Yeah.
And you're a young kid, and maybe you didn't do all of the legwork. Hey, was this legit? I got something from Dean Pease. Or were you just excited and you were over the moon, and so you made the trip and you found out it wasn't legit? Regardless, if it's true and somebody decided this was the way to play a prank, that ain't it.
No. And so Cousin T, man, is a guy that listened to us, and he's listened to the story too, and just talking about how messed up it is. He follows a lot of the Middle Tennessee sports like a lot of us do. And he said the kid is legit. So it's not far-fetched that he should have gotten a call or an opportunity or a tryout. A tryout has zero risk.
Right.
For the team.
Right.
Again, they'll reimburse him if he drive down, or let's say if he was in, St. Louis and had to fly in, they'll pay for the flight and send him back. That happens. But for a kid like this, who was all conference, had the ability, that sucked. Whoever you are behind the text message, be proud of yourself for being the biggest scumbag on a Monday morning.
Yeah, good for you.
Good for you. Proud of you.
Good for you. Nice job, buddy.
Proud of you. Like, I get it for whatever reason you thought it would have been funny, but to let it go all the way out, man, you're a real cold piece of work is what you are.
Yep. It's good stuff. For Wantavius Bryant, it's good stuff in terms of how he handled it.
How he handled it, yeah.
You, on the other hand, scuzzy.
Scuzzy.
At best. Coming up next, Coach Dave McGinnis, what did he see this weekend. What was his conversation with Jim Schwartz? How did that go? And we'll talk to him maybe about Montavious Bryant also. He can tell us and let us into the world a little bit more about how these tryouts situations are set up, whether or not Montavious Bryant should have thought that this was a legitimate opportunity as well. All of that with Coach Mack next here on 104.5 The Zone.
Your Nashville Predators are in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Nashville's first chance to react after every game with Will Bowling on 104.5 The Zone TV. This is your home for the best Predators playoff coverage. 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's JMart. I don't know if you are about to buy your first home or your fifth home or your 10th home, or maybe this is just the second home. You've been in that starter house and now it's time to move up. If you were planning to buy a home this year, is it still a good time to buy? It is, but you've got to have the right people on your side because so many people are trying to buy homes right here in Nashville, right here in the neighborhood that you want, the school district you want, all of that kind of stuff. Those houses are going quick. The real estate industry is on fire in a way we've never really seen before, especially here. It's still possible to find tour finance, even close on a home virtually anywhere, but it's speed. Unless you want to settle, it's speed, and you've got to have people that can get you to the finish line, and that's Mortgage Investors Group. My friends at MIG can help you get pre-qualified. That's the crucial point here, pre-qualification. They can help you get pre-qualified with a complete touch-free process. The power of technology means that Mortgage Investors Group can help you with an end-to-end digital mortgage experience that best fits your needs and achieves your goals. They're committed to helping Tennesseans like you and your family fulfill your dreams of home ownership. They want to be your home loan lender. They're going to help you through this process. If it's a first home, they're going to show you what you don't know. They're going to make sure that everything is taken care of for you. You're going to understand what they're doing as they do it. If you're buying a new home, Mortgage Investors Group's the answer. If you need to lower your home loan payment, Mortgage Investors Group is the answer. If you need to pull some cash out of the equity in your home, guess what? Mortgage Investors Group is the answer. Whatever it is that you need done, let Mortgage Investors Group do the heavy lifting for you. Go to the website. Here it is, migonline.com. migonline.com. You can get expert advice there. You can also find out where the nearest office is to you so that you can get this process going. Or you can text MIG to 31399. That's MIG to 31399 to get pre-qualified. Do it today. You can trust these folks. I love them. It's Mortgage Investors Group. Equal housing lender, license number 109111.
At a time when it seems everything is on back order, you should know Buy Floors Direct has massive quantities of every type of flooring in stock and ready to go today. Unlike retail stores, you buy direct from our warehouse. No middleman and no retail expenses, so you pay less. No need to order, no waiting, and the selection is incredible. In fact, we have more flooring in stock than anyone in Middle Tennessee.
to you, Coach.
Hi, JMart. Hi, Ramon. How you guys this morning?
Fine, Coach. Good morning.
Great.
So, what did you see this weekend, Coach? First off, it's just good to be back out there. It's good to be seeing people. It's good to be seeing pads. It's good to be seeing dudes out there doing things. But what did you see?
Well, I mean, it was, look, guys, this time, especially in this season, or starting of this season, following what happened last year with a lot of these kids. I mean, there's three aspects of this thing. I mean, they're not going, first of all, nobody's going full speed. Nobody's making or not making the team in this rookie mini camp. And Mike Vrabel and his staff, approached it very, very wisely, just as most all of the staffs across the league are approaching it. The first thing, I mean, there's three things that we used to try to get out of a rookie mini camp. And the first thing is, and I say rookies, free agents, anybody else that is not a vested veteran that you choose to have at this introductory. This is what this is. This is getting these guys both feet on the ground so they realize where they are. I mean, they all come in from all different places, and believe me, Ramon's sitting right there and can tell you, I mean, they're so nervous, they don't know whether they're foot or horseback. And I don't care whether you're a first-round pick or you're a guy that's just been invited in for a tryout. Everything's brand new. So what you do is you try to give them a nice orientation about their daily routine, what's going to go on. Here's where your meeting rooms are going to be. Here's where everything is laid out before the veterans get in there and everything starts ramping up. But when you look at it, and they had, I gave 31 guys there, so they didn't have enough for two teams. I mean, Naquan Jones was the only defensive lineman they had, which was fine. This is about three things. First of all, it's about instruction and attention. You're trying to see if these guys will pay attention, not only to what's going on the field, but what everything, all the information you give them. Are they paying attention? And then the next thing you look at to see as the days progress is what kind of retention do they have? How do they retain it? What kind of retention do they have? Do you have repeat offenders? Do you have guys asking the same questions? Do you have guys that are getting it? You make notes of those things too as a staff when you evaluate them every day. And the next thing you do, and the last thing you do is when you get on the field, what's the execution like? How can they take everything that they've learned, everything they've been exposed to, and then go out on the field? Because guys, let me tell you this, and it's not only here at the Titans, and I'm not really specifically talking about the Titans. I talk to a lot of people around the league, and I check to see with coaching staffs, one of these things these kids have missed just because of what they've gone through, from the COVID to the truncated seasons to the opt-outs to a lot of things. The 20-hour rule in college, they've missed a lot of fundamental work.
Well, one thing
a lot of fundamental work just coming in here. So this is what this was about.
Coach, one thing I actually, Diana Rossini reported that a lot of people around the NFL, and this is just to your point, a lot of coaches were remarking that they were very surprised in a positive sense with the technique of the college players that were there this weekend. Like, they were super impressed with these guys, and they were surprised by it, but in a positive way.
Yeah, and some of them have, and there's going to be varying degrees of that, but some of them have missed a lot of it, and it's not their fault. It's not their fault. So this introductory weekend for these rookies to their particular spots was to just get them familiar with their surroundings and familiar with what's going to go on, because this learning curve is going to ramp up very quickly. Mike Vrabel, is very smart the way that he's doing it. He's keeping these guys separate in meetings for the next week, from the vets as to when they come in here, because these guys just need time. I mean, you've got Ramon can tell you right there, when he was in the league, they threw everybody in together at the same time. And you are scrambling to keep your head above water, as a rookie coming in, when you're surrounded by vets that know it, and that know it at a greater speed than you know it. So I enjoyed being out there. I enjoyed seeing the coaches again, visiting with the coaches. I enjoyed just watching the players, just looking at them physically to see, but you're not going to draw any conclusions as far as who's going to make this team, who's not going to make this team off of this weekend.
Yeah, that's what's so interesting, Coach, is the fact, like you said, my rookie year, we didn't actually have a rookie minicamp. It was the years afterwards in which they put it into play for us. So me being a vet, looking at the young guys come in, you want to talk about nerves. And we talked about this earlier, you want to talk about not knowing what you don't know during this period, man, is something to be brought to your attention real fast and up front. But to that point, though, too, about getting back to the rookie minicamp, though, who was more excited, the guys that were out there or the coaches? Because as you said, we didn't have this luxury last year at all.
No, well, the coaches, look, coaches aren't coaches unless they have players, and I can tell you this, from my, a lot of years of doing it, 3 decades of doing it in the National Football League. As a coach, you want your players around because it really, if you're coaching for the right reasons, and most people that make it to this level in this profession are doing it for the right reasons, you just want to help your players get better. Because as well as I do, Ramon, your position coaches that you respect are the ones that helped you get better.
Oh yeah.
Give you something that will help you be better, and you can't do that unless you're together. So yeah, they were the coaches. I think were really enjoying it, just because when you want to get on the grass with your players, it's about being a teacher and being a teacher at a level that you get to watch guys develop and grow. And there's no greater time than watching them start out brand new. And so absolutely the coaches were excited about it. And so were the kids. I mean, think about it. Think about, you're 21, 22, 23 years old, and all of a sudden you are into a lifetime dream, but it's just starting, and it can be overwhelming. And that's why it's up to the people with experience, the coaches with experience, that know how to work, how to make these guys, their transition from an entirely different world to this world a lot easier.
Coach, did anything in terms of just the size of any of the guys? I mean, I saw Jim Wyatt point out that Weaver is a very big dude in person, for example. Was there anything that jumped out to you in terms of these guys, these newer Titans, the ones that we know about, even the ones that maybe we don't know about? Anything that as somebody with the experienced eyes that you have, that you saw, that you definitely still remember today?
Oh, well, I mean, I thought the two, I thought Fitzpatrick and McMath, those guys look like National Football League receivers look. They're long. Those guys are good sized dudes that can, that have some movement skills. Radance looks like the real deal to me, just the way he carries himself. They had him on the right side, but I mean, there's certain ways that a young offensive lineman carries himself, and Ramon can speak to that. You can just tell, all right, this guy's going to have a real chance to do it. I mean, Farley, come on, guys, that's a physical specimen, out there at the corner. And so to me, just physically when you look at him, and then as you brought up Weaver, Weaver's, this is a big, long dude that, and I said it, when we during the draft. I was sitting there with Ramon, and I said it immediately. And because Mike Keith asked me the question, "What do you think?" I said, if he stays healthy, this guy will be the third guy in the rotation pretty quick, because he's got the requisite skills.
Coach, a question that has to be brought to everybody's attention is the fact that the Titans medical staff really, I don't want to say have their hands full, but they got some very important guys they got to get back to the field. And you hope by week 1 or by camp, whenever it is, that's Bud Dupree, Taylor Lewan, and the first round draft pick this year, Caleb Farley. I know you're very confident in their ability to do it because they've done it in the past, but how do you feel about the task that they have in front of them as far as managing these guys correctly, not listening to the outside chatter of they need to be on the field and doing what's important for the players? Because those 3 that I mentioned, you want them on the field and you want them at their best selves also.
Well, yeah, you want them against the Cardinals is who you want them against, and ready to go. And so, Todd Torricelli is one of the most highly respected, athletic trainers in the National Football League. I know Todd very well from quite a while. He and his group, his whole medical group, they're not going to rush anybody. The National Football League is and I just want to say this. It's not about, you're not worried about any outside noise. If you're worried about outside noise influencing you, then you are in the wrong profession if you're going to be in professional sports, because you're visible. That's just life. You've got to do what you know is correct, and they absolutely know what's correct. And you're right. That's what they will work on. And the players, the players are the primary focus of this. They're the ones that will work on it, Ramon. They are the ones. And then, as you well know, and I will say this, after a lot of years of experience of this, the biggest thing that you have to do when a player is injured sometimes is protect him against himself. Because players want to do what? They want to get out there and play. And so you've got to use your expertise saying, look, the patience that you exhibit now and the regime that you stay on now, it will pay dividends and you will be there, and then you will be able to stay there when you get there. All of that stuff is very, very important. I've got the utmost confidence in Todd Torricelli and the entire Titans medical group, because you've seen what they've done. You saw what they did with Jeffrey Simmons. You just seen what they've done. And Mike Vrabel is one of the best at managing players. He just really knows, because look, he did it for a long time at a high level.
Farley, you can talk about the medical, but when you watched him, when you were looking at film and all that in the lead up to the draft, he was very impressive. Like, you saw that from everywhere. It was really the medical that was holding him back. If he plays, the one comparison, like you saw him pop up on social media and he kind of said, look, he's basically calling his shot. He's coming out there and he's being outspoken. He's saying, I'm going to be good in this league, and I'm going to go ahead and step out right now and do that. And A.J. Brown was kind of like, hey, man, just show it. But I think he was giving him some respect, and that could be fun in camp. But one comparison I continually have heard about Caleb Farley is Cortland Finnegan. You know Finnegan very, very well, Coach. Is that an apt comparison in any way?
Well, I mean, I know Finney very well. In fact, I mean, I was not only here when we drafted Cortland in the 7th round, out of Sanford. I watched his development here, and then when we went to the Rams, we brought him there for a reason, just for that, not only his ability but his attitude. But look, they're two different stories. Think about it. I mean, Court was a safety at Sanford in the 7th round. So he came in and had to prove everything. Now, what we knew, and then what we soon found out, is there was a competitive spirit in that guy that was just top notch. And that's exactly what you wanted. Caleb Farley is a 1st round pick for a reason. This guy's extremely, extremely talented. And when you see him in person, you go, well, okay, I get it. It's just he can be that guy. I don't mind. Let me just say this. All my years of coaching, I don't mind when a corner, because a corner has got to have supreme confidence. I coached a Hall of Fame cornerback in Aeneas Williams, one of the nicest human beings in the world, one of the most grounded human beings in the world. But you talk about saying, let me wear the hat, he would say it. Let me wear the hat. Wow. I can do this. Don't take that away from me. I can do this. Look, that position demands it, because if nobody doesn't know anything about football, and they go to a game, regardless of whether they know a coverage or not, when there's a long pass thrown and there's a guy trailing him in the end zone, they go, well, that guy just got beat. It's kind of like being a kicker. People can know nothing about football, but if a kicker misses a kick, they'll go, you know what? He wasn't supposed to do that. Yeah. All right. So a corner has to have supreme confidence. I've got no problem with that, because I don't know him yet, but from what I have seen and have talked to people that have worked with him where he was, this guy has got the work ethic and he's got the moxie that you need to wear the hat.
Coach, there was a situation that happened this weekend with a ex-Austin Peay player, as far as him being given a fake text phone call from Dean Pease in Atlanta, as far as a tryout situation goes. For the people that's wondering how that could happen in the world of the way tryouts work, maybe the line of communication was broken as far as him getting a text message instead of a call. But when a guy's getting a tryout, can you explain to them how that actually works out? Like, there's not much stock in the commitment aspect of getting a guy to that city.
No, I mean, I just feel so bad for that player, for that kid. Look, he has no idea how the National Football League works. We just started this segment off talking about these guys that are vetted and they know they're coming. They still don't know what's going on, right? I mean, I feel so bad for that kid, and that, whoever did that, I mean, it's just scumbag. I mean, I don't know what the word. Yeah, I don't know what the word is. Yeah, I do know what the word is. I can't say it on the radio. I mean, I do know. That's just that's despicable. I mean, to do that to that kid has got no fault of his own. And I tell you, I know the Falcons feel bad about it too, because they had nothing to do with it. But the hopes and dreams and aspirations of these kids, and I can very easily see how that could happen, especially in this time where everybody's been shuttered. I mean, they had a truncated season there, at Austin Peay. I mean, look, that to me is a human being that does that sits and willfully thinks out, this will be a good idea to make somebody feel really small when they think they have a chance to at least start to recognize, which I know was probably a dream of this kid. That's horrible. That is, I could say the word, but I couldn't be on the show for a while.
So how much contact would somebody like that have with the organization? Because that's what we were trying to figure out, and that you probably had some inside knowledge about. Like, this isn't a first-round draft pick. This is somebody being invited to a tryout. Like, how does that process work? How many phone calls come in? What should he have expected? Like, it seems to me if he believed that was Dean Pease, I could see why that would be enough for him, but I'm just curious how much actually goes into this kind of situation.
Oh, much more. I mean, you're going to have the area scout. You're going to have the scouting director. I mean, look, the poor player, the young player, he had no idea what the protocols would have been. None. I know exactly. He would have had at least, 5 or 6 calls. He would have had the director of operations call saying, this is how you're going to get here. Here's your flight, or here's what we'll pay mileage wise, since you're coming from Nashville, if you're going to drive. I mean, there is a long line of communication. So, I mean, this poor kid was catfished, and whoever did it should feel really, really proud of themselves, because that was despicable.
Well, he handled himself with utter class after the fact, too. Like, every word that's come out of it's a master class in maturity in a really embarrassing situation where he just takes ownership for just getting it wrong. And I hope it really works out for him as a result of all
this. You know what, though, JMart, and I don't want to talk over you, but that kid's got nothing to apologize.
No, he doesn't. I agree.
He did that young man did nothing wrong. All he did was get excited about an opportunity that he thought had come his way. He had no idea what the protocols are. So look, my heart goes out to guys like that, because I know how important it is to them. I've dealt with hundreds of them over my 30 plus years of coaching, because it's a dream, and it is a lifelong dream. And then to have somebody purposely shatter it just because they think it's cute, not cool.
Yeah. I mean, him saying he was humbled, it's just like, yeah, but you weren't arrogant about this. Like, you didn't need to be humbled. Like, this wasn't a situation where you needed to be taken down a peg. This was just somebody doing something very mean-spirited. And it sucks. That's just all there is to say about it.
Mean-spirited is a really nice way of saying it.
Yeah, look, we try to do it on the radio terrestrially here, but you know exactly where we are. Coach, it's always a pleasure, man. We love starting our Mondays with you.
Guys, it's the same for me. Thanks, guys. See you.
Thank you. That's Coach Mack. He's brought to you by Farm Bureau Health Plans. Farm Bureau Health Plans, it's like an extra set of pads in your healthcare coverage when you need them the most. They've been protecting Tennesseans since 1947. Fun fact, that was Coach Dave McGinnis' first year in the NFL. Be right back. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
There we go. Man.
Buck Rising is the local Titans know-it-all guy. The Buck Rising Show. Today, starting at 10 a.m. on 104.5 The Zone.
Hey, it's Ramon, and selling your home can often be a difficult, stressful task. But if you want the process to be much more convenient, choose Open Door. Hundreds of thousands of people have already experienced the convenience of using Open Door, and you can too. Simply go to opendoor.com, answer a few quick questions about your home, complete a contact-free video walkthrough, and get your offer in just a few steps. If you like that offer, you can sell your house directly to Open Door with no do-it-yourself repairs, no prep work, no showings. See what I mean by convenience? Hope so anyway. You get the offer and you can close when you are ready, and you can do it all online. Get your free offer at opendoor.com/myoffer. Again, it's opendoor.com/myoffer. Offer eligibility varies, and Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage, Inc., license 02061130 in California, and Open Door Brokerage, LLC in its other markets.
Hey, it's Will Bowling. The NBA play-in tournament gives some teams one last shot to make the playoffs, but everyone can bet on this round risk-free on FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. FanDuel has teamed up with basketball legends Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith to make sure you'll get your money back even if you don't win. That's any user, any bet type, any game. The NBA play-in tournament's going down May 18th through the 21st, and FanDuel's making it more exciting with Play-In Palooza. So if you already have a sportsbook account, just open the app and opt in to claim your risk-free bet. And if you're new to FanDuel, sign up using my promo code WILL104 to get your first risk-free bet up to $1,000 exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. New user risk-free bet for first real money wager only, and refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly with thehomeloanexpert.com. It's no secret that the housing market is red hot. Homes are selling day one and they're going for over list price. Some folks are making offers on homes that they haven't even seen in person. The competition is fierce. You have to be pre-approved and working with a strong mortgage lender. Get a leg up on the competition and get pre-approved now. thehomeloanexpert.com.
The Home Loan Expert LLC, NMLS number 1326241.
In business, it's never just another day. Every day is the day. It could bring your biggest order yet, or a new cyber threat. Whatever the
Golly,
All
I'm
the
getting
count is
smacked.
high.
Yeah, I'm getting smacked this morning, dog.
Like this chick.
Yeah, no, for real. That's how I feel.
I wish everybody could see this. I know you're not on Twitter to be able to see it, but we did just retweet it out, and it's classic.
It's classic.
It's a solid one. There's always a few good animal attack videos.
Yeah.
Boy, when Ramon came in this morning, he didn't even sound like himself when he was like, "What's up, Shave?"
Yeah.
Because of the allergies. You're all choked out there for 20 minutes.
No, for real. This is being at baseball parks all weekend, dog. Got to do it to you. Plus, you said the pollen count is high today anyway.
What I saw on Twitter, I'm not making it up, but I haven't looked it up directly, but I've seen pollen mentioned many times today already.
Yep, that'll do it.
Tree pollen's currently high. That's the
tree pollen?
Tree and grass pollens. Yep.
Sure, sounds good.
I looked it up over the weekend.
I thought it was just one pollen.
No. Oh,
the
no.
The yellow stuff.
Oh.
Yeah, the yellow. Oh, which one is? So there's green and yellow then.
Yellow's the stuff that
They're
I
just
don't want to
awful.
be near.
Oh,
All of it's awful.
yeah, your boy over here sounding congested. That's the life we live.
Pollen season.
Pollen season.
SZN.
Pollen season is not a season of lies. It's a real thing.
To put a bit of a bow on the situation with Wontarius Bryant, do you think now he gets some kind of opportunity somewhere as a result of this story? I mean, it's a meritocracy in the NFL, although some people are then going to roll their eyes and say, what about Tebow in Jacksonville?
Does this guy actually just finish college?
Right.
You know?
Right. Do you think maybe somebody gives him an opportunity?
I was about to make a point, and then you bring up Tebow, though. I was about to say the NFL ain't a charity
Choosing
league.
violence.
I know. I was about to say the NFL.
It's not a charity league.
I know, but don't you feel like the Tebow situation is almost charity in a sense?
I don't know because I haven't seen it yet.
Have they signed him yet?
No, I don't think so. Urban Meyer's still making a final decision.
This is one of them unless you're going to do it type of
Yeah.
thing. Unless you're going to do it.
What would be hilarious is if they don't actually do it. After all of this, for like almost a week, and it turns out it's nothing. Between that and Travis Etienne, hybrid wide receiver, I understand nothing anymore.
Me either, and that's probably the way Urban wants it. Only thing,
that's some turd stuff right there.
Thank you.
I don't know what it is. He's either the biggest genius we've ever seen, or he's a numbskull that's about to be exposed in his own brain for not being as smart as he thought he was. One of the two. There's not going to be a middle ground here.
There's no middle ground. Only person happy about ETN being a wide receiver, as I told you earlier, is James Robinson. That's it. I mean, I don't know. With Wontarius, though, does he deserve a shot? From my understanding and people that's watched him, he's a very good player. But again, being very good doesn't mean you get an opportunity. I would like to say the NFL isn't a charity type of situation. It's like, oh, come on in here and get you a pat on the back, and we'll check you out. Maybe somebody get injured.
It'll be easier for tryouts this year, moving away from the pandemic, where last year they were pretty much non-existent.
Or bringing a guy in after somebody gets injured.
But again, as you said, it's not a giant risk here.
No, it's no risk.
So that's why I think maybe somebody does it, because even if he's not on your radar, just the PR and the optics are relentlessly going to be in your favor. It's going to be a positive decision to make just because you get to be kind of the happy ending to a really garbage story.
What's wild is if he does get that opportunity, let's say even in training camp, and this kid makes the roster in some type of way, maybe special teams or just that's probably what's going to be his position if he's not on the roster right now. But that'll be a heck of a story, a heck of a turnaround. And and the thing about his situation is the person that did it knows him. That's what's so sucky about it, is they know him.
Yeah, they have to. This isn't just some random. I mean, you have to have had his phone number, first of all.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some real bad thing that this kid did to somebody else.
We don't know.
That they didn't know about. Maybe cut him off in traffic or something. I don't know what it would be. Maybe you didn't wave to him in the neighborhood.
Yeah. You wave to him in the neighborhood. You still going, how was she?
I have not seen her, but I asked Abby. I was like, Abby, if they listen to the show, they might figure out it's them. And Abby was like, and? That was her response, was and?
Savage.
That's That's why I married her. I marry her all over again after that line.
Savage.
615-737-1045. Teresa Walker in 25 minutes. We'll talk about Titans over the weekend. We'll certainly talk about the Preds. We'll talk about this situation a little bit more with the Austin P. DB getting catfished. Slay is up.
Yeah,
He's on
yeah.
YouTube, says he was catfished like that when he was younger, but he got that it was a joke afterwards. That can be crushing. I bet it was crushing.
He still doesn't know where his mama's Beretta went.
I'm still not sure he owned that car.
Was that the catfish right there?
I'm still pretty sure he didn't own that car.
We definitely know.
Somebody parked that car there for 3 days, and his mom's like, "That's your car," and then it disappeared. He's like, "I don't know what happened to my car."
Reminds me when somebody stole my bike.
Hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio. 4th hour next here on The Zone.
Feeding your curiosity from all the food groups. Phone, smart speaker, radio, and now Twitch. It's 1045 The Zone TV. Watch now. 1045thezone.com.
Mortgage interest rates are still sitting at an all-time low level, but they are starting to tick up. So if you've been sitting on the fence to get a refi, if you haven't got your pre-approved home loan locked in, now is the time. Quit waiting for a lower rate. It's not gonna happen, okay? Interest rates are still sitting in the low 2%, which means by refinancing your 30-year mortgage, the home loan expert can save you hundreds of dollars a month. This past year has been tough for a lot of different reasons, between loss of wages, job loss. People are just struggling with bills and debt. But your home is your biggest asset. And with the home equity so high right now, it's the perfect time to do a cash out refi. They can lower your monthly payments, give you cash to pay off debt, and have you skip a few mortgage payments. That's how you start 2021 with a little less worry. So sitting at home for months, people are looking at homes all the time. And if you're looking at homes, you can tell if it's there today, it's gone tomorrow because they are selling fast in this market. Getting pre-approved is key to finding your dream home. At thehomeloanexpert.com, they can lock in your interest rate, project your payments, and get you pre-qualified. So when you find that right home, you can submit the offer and close on your dream house in a matter of days. The Home Loan Expert are doing more home loans than ever and are closing purchases in less than 30 days. So do not wait.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is offering a one-of-a-kind financing program at netsuite.com/golf. Today's birthday shout-out goes to Frank Ragnow. So who's he, you ask? 10 days ago, he became the highest-paid center in the National Football League, and good for him.
AFC North are playing some tough divisions.
Doggy dog, man.
Because the first two on the list are Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Then it's Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's Cincinnati. Then it's Detroit. So literally the top 7 schedules per opponent win percentage. And, of course, that's a team they were fielding last year, not what's changed this year. They're all from those two divisions. Mm-hmm. The first 9 one you get to is the Raiders. And guess what's after that? The Browns. So that's the whole AFC North in the top 10 of strength of schedule. Now, is that division pretty good? Yeah. Steelers, Ravens,
Browns.
Bengals are better, and the Browns are certainly a contender.
Yeah.
So you're playing tough in division, but I don't look at the NFC North and think that. The Bears are going to have a rookie quarterback, even though Matt Nagy says Andy Dalton's his QB1 for right now.
Yeah.
We don't know who's going to be the quarterback in Green Bay. Minnesota is Kirk Cousins, so how am I supposed to feel about that? And the Lions are, the last time I checked, you correct me if I'm wrong about this, the Lions are the Detroit Lions.
They're planning for what's his name out of Oklahoma being their quarterback next year, Rattler. What is Spencer Rattler?
Yeah, but we're talking about this year.
That's what. But I'm saying in general, you speak about them being good. Like, people are projecting them to be the number 1 overall pick next year.
Right, exactly. Where does Tennessee fall in this list? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Not in the top 10. I lost the thread. Hang on. 13th. 13th toughest schedule.
So
per opponent win percentage, once again.
What's making this interesting about the NFC North is they're slated to play the AFC North, as you said. But they also have, who else is on this roster? Is it AFC West? They got Cardinals, they got Falcons, they got Seahawks on their Eagles. So I think it's their opponents more than just them. Also, they're just running into a gauntlet of the AFC West and NFC West teams they got to play this year too. Again,
the NFC West is the toughest division.
NFC, yes, 100%.
I assumed one of them had to be playing the NFC West.
If we were looking at it right now, you got NFC West number 1
without any doubt,
hands down, from top to bottom. Anyone can win that division. Maybe
I think the AFC West would be interesting if Rodgers went there, because then you'd have Rodgers, Mahomes, and that loaded Chargers team that just had a great draft.
Yeah,
the Raiders would be the worst team in that division, and they're not like a 2-win football team.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, but that depends on Rodgers, which
kick you in the teeth.
Yeah, there you go. Which I increasingly believe might not happen.
By the way, you hear LaFleur speaking about Aaron Rodgers over the weekend, though. They're almost getting to a point where it sounds like puppy dog, with like trying to please him, and which they should, I guess. But it's almost like we want him here, and he knows that, and we love to have him here. I'm just like, well, how much is that is true, and how much are y'all backtracking right now too?
Yeah, there's something going on here. There's no doubt. Chuck in Bellevue. Let's get to his phone call real quick.
Chuck?
Chuck, what's going on? Chuck, you with us?
Hey, fellas.
Hey, man.
Yeah, hey, fellas. Sorry about that.
All good.
First of all, I just want to start off and say huge fan of the show.
Thank
Love y'all tying off in the mornings. Super combo. Just 2 points real quick. First, on the ATN situation, isn't that the same thing as basically Saquon Barkley? Other folks are doing in the league. You know, our local favorite, Kamara. And then on the Bryant kid, don't know what's going on there. Could be a good reason why he wants to squash it. But do we think it's a chance maybe someone sent the message, and next thing they know, they see this kid on ESPN? I'll hang up and listen to the Cousins.
I'm not sure what do you mean. What's he asserting there in that last question?
I think it's talking about the ETN situation with Saquon being a multiple.
Well, no, I get that part, but the last thing he was talking about was the
one Terriers. Oh, meaning that he's put on her, and that's what I was kind of alluding to without trying to be disrespectful to this kid if he's innocent. Like, if it was him and his homeboys saying, or him and a friend plighting this national coverage and his name being put on the radar.
I can't say that because there's no reason for me to believe it. I understand there's a value to it for him, potentially.
Yeah.
But I can't go there. If I find that out, then
we go bury him.
Yeah, he's going to get.
We got to bury him.
He's going to get Hoffman. But until that point in time, it's an awful story.
I mean, and if we're playing devil's advocate, okay, if we're playing devil's advocate, everybody knows this kid right now. and he may not have been on one NFL's scouting department and their log of players to look at. But again, if somebody gets injured over rookie minicamp, they're going home as a tryout. Boom. Vets come in next week doing phase 1, phase 2. He's in the fold with them.
Well, but here's the problem.
I just can't
If
be
you
this
did-
cynical.
if you-
devil's advocate.
I understand.
I can't be that cynical and live my
Yeah.
life.
Right.
No.
I get it. And I understand the point. The problem is that if you did that and a
Yeah.
team finds out, you're
It's
done.
over. It's over.
Yeah.
That's a wrap.
It's
I mean,
over.
but how do you find out? We had I think it was somebody on Twitter said that they got a call from their own number in which somebody had hijacked it and said it was them. Like they were calling themselves as a scammer. So, I mean,
I'm not saying it's not
Yeah,
possible.
yeah.
I'm just saying that's
it's
I need that to be true before I'm going to put that out.
yeah,
there.
no, 100%. 100%.
And I pray that isn't true.
We appreciate the call, Chuck, because you look at all sides of that's an ugly situation. And even uglier if he was behind it, which we doubted because he put out his whole post, and we're erring on the side of him just getting catfished.
Yeah.
But, yeah. By the way, Ron said he got catfished like that too. So
I'm not surprised.
yeah.
Ron also said, because I said, I'm not sure he ever owned that car. He said, JMart, be careful. Lolo listens to this show.
It's Lolita.
She's going to think y'all are calling her a liar. Ask the city. Y'all don't want Mama Slay on y'all bad side.
We're not calling her a liar. We're calling Slay a liar.
Yeah, I'm calling your son a liar, Lolo. You raised him. You know what kind of person he is.
all of that bad stuff he learned when he left the house. You didn't put that in him.
All the news about your sleigh ride ain't been good news.
Let's talk about that Impala you had on UT campus and that Escalade that everybody knows about.
See, now you've gone into places where I want to know more, and I'm not an expert enough to be able to speak on this intelligent. Yeah.
Ron had a Cadillac Escalade on 24s. Okay, legally in college, man. Everybody knew about it. If you ask anybody who was there from what was it, 90 or 2003, they knew about the sleigh ride, and that was a banging down your block ride. Crazy. The
But I
legend
don't think
continues.
he owned that Beretta.
He did not own that Beretta. He was 15. There's no way.
That car was parked there. I don't know by who and for what purpose.
Yeah, we're dogging them.
But it became a very casual story to be able to say, yeah, that's your car.
My
Just deliver
first time was
newspapers.
bareback.
It broke Jason. It broke him.
Moan, what's
My
coming up
first
next
time
on the
was
show?
bareback.
Oh.
The Queen, Teresa Walker, is coming up next as Jason can't even stand to look up anymore. Ron Slay, this is what you do, man. Coming back after the break, Teresa Walker, man. We'll get into Preds, Titans, overall weekend as Jason just can't stand it. Shafe, we got to go.
Blaine and Mickey understand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We understand.
Blaine and Mickey, this afternoon, 1 to 3 on 104.5 The Zone.
It's playoff time, big stakes, bigger promotions, and it's time to hammer the over and score some cash. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you a chance to lower the over-under on a featured playoff game. All players who place a bet on the featured basketball game will have a hand in lowering the over-under on the game. That's right. For every 1,500 players who bet the over on select basketball on select game, the over-under will drop by 1 point. Every bettor who hammers the over in the featured game helps to lower the game's over-under. The best part is that even the line lowers. The odds remain the same at even money. So you can double your money by hammering the over. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your funds at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code WGFX when you sign up to hammer the over. For every 1,500 people that bet the over in the featured game, the line will decrease by 1 point. Yes, this is your chance to improve the odds of the over hitting. So tell your friends and family this is a team effort. Hammer the over and improve your odds of doubling your money. That's promo code WGFX for a limited time only at the DraftKings Sportsbook. And you must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet. Restrictions apply. Max $25 wager, one per customer, and the offer ends 5/23/21. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Hello, Zach Allen with Buddy Allen Carpet One, your local source for everything flooring, hardwoods, carpets, tiles, laminates, waterproof flooring, and more. We will help you save time and money on your next flooring project. With our free in-home estimates, installation done right by our certified installers, and lifetime installation.
May, and we're just now getting into the NHL playoffs. But, boys, I tell you, if the games are like yesterday's first three, we are in for quite a fun set of games.
So, underdog, that's a role that honestly the Predators we've seen some success when the expectations have been low in the past. How do you sense just kind of the overall tenor of this series before we get started tonight?
Well, everybody's picking against them. I did see a couple people with NHL.com pick the Predators. Hey, this is when you play your way up from the bottom of the NHL to get into the playoffs. Not many people are going to be picking you, but now, and here's where Predator fans have to be a little careful. There's a lot of shades of 2017. Nobody picked them against the Blackhawks. They had a hot goalie, and they went to the Stanley Cup final. At this point, just try to win. Focus on one game, one win. Try to steal one in Carolina to steal home ice advantage. That's what you have to focus on at this point, and then move forward. And then, it's going to be a cliche. They're there for a reason. All the Predators can do is that one game at a time mentality, because the instant they look ahead or try to look at the big pattern, that's what fans do. That's what we do. Then they're going to fall over their sticks. So just go out there and try to play one game and hope that a week off just simply gave UC Saros the energy he needs to keep carrying this team, because that's what they need.
So we assume, and we know Saros is the guy. We know he's the best player for this team right now, and he's been playing the best. He's the primary reason why they're here. Who is the next most important player for the Predators if they are to win?
I'm going to say Philip Forsberg. He's coming off the injury. Before the injury, he was nearly a point-a-game player, okay? Now, yes, they need Ryan Johansson, Matt Duchene to score. But if Philip Forsberg is scoring, that's going to be at least one big step toward helping match, the big scorers and the big forwards that the Carolina Hurricanes have.
When it comes to this team, though, you speak about them being underdogs, but they rallied this last part of the season, and you got to ask yourself, are they running into some good momentum in the fact that they are underdogs? Nobody expect much from them?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about the NHL. You just look back at the St. Louis Blues. They were last in the NHL on January 1st, just a couple of years ago, and then they make a run all the way to win the Stanley Cup. That's the beautiful thing when a team does come together. Timing and momentum, it's crazy, right? Momentum in the NFL seems to be a little tougher to continue because, you're playing once a week. But when you're playing hockey or NBA, when you're playing those best-of-7 series, it's easier, it feels like, to carry that momentum over, because with one win in Carolina, you can steal that home ice advantage, and you essentially give yourself a chance to shorten the series, and you can just keep, it's easier to stack those wins together and to just, let's face it. I mean, people are watching their clocks right now, watching for the puck to drop tonight, and then tomorrow it'll be the same thing. It's like, okay, no, that's tomorrow night. But the games, game 1 tonight, game 2 is Wednesday night. Then they're playing every other night. That makes it easier to build that momentum and keep it going once you get it there. And like the Predators have been saying for the last few days, they've been in a playoff situation where they had to win or else for nearly 2 months, since March 15th when Saros came back from IR. So they're used to this pressure. And, Carolina Hurricanes, they were in the mix for the President's Trophy until the final week. And, shifting those gears can be a little challenging for a team that had been stacking wins, but not so much under the pressure of win or else.
How important could the fourth line be? I think we're all surprised at what we've seen from Olivier, from Jeannot, from Sissons, from Trennan. These are guys that they've certainly outperformed expectations as a line, and it's a spot where I think maybe the Predators could actually have some success.
Oh, absolutely. Those guys seem to just set the tone, with their physical play, running over people. It's fun to watch these guys just pour over and they're the ones setting the tone. They're skating fast. These guys have gotten in, Jeannot particularly, and Trennan, these are young guys who are trying to get, playing time. And the way you do that when you're on that fourth line, hit people, hit them cleanly so you're not in the box. And if you can score, and they've been doing that, then you are absolutely in the situation of being able to bring something that people weren't expecting. And that's the thing. When you can roll four lines, and the Predators can, that's another thing that makes a team dangerous this time of the year, in addition to that hot goalie in the pipes.
In order for them to win this series, and I know they got to win each game, but what's going to be the steps as far as them getting this series down, like splitting in Carolina, or how do you see them getting this series under their belt?
Well, the earlier they can steal a game in Carolina, the better. There's a reason why when, the Predators announced a week ago today that they were going to expand up to 12,135 inside Bridgestone, to help Smashville come even louder and more alive than we saw in the last few games of the season, when they really did help the Predators, give them that little bit of a bump. Mm-hmm. When you've been playing in front of empty seats, mostly empty seats for months, to hear the crowd again. Guys, I can't tell you how – it's invigorating for me, and I'm not on the ice with a stick in my hand. So, that's why Carolina, it's like, okay, you know what? We're gonna get some more people in our building too, because we can't let them have all the energy here. But go in there. If they can steal one tonight or Wednesday night, it doesn't have to be tonight, but go set the tone that you're not backing down. Steal one of these first two games, that will be the key, because then you've got home ice coming back here for game 3. That crowd inside Smashville, that can be the thing that can help you put the Hurricanes on the edge really quickly.
Teresa, Titans this weekend, the rookies were there. Farley obviously not practicing, but everything that you read and everything that's being reported is he's doing everything else. Is that the sense that you're getting as well, that he's hungry to get out there, he can't, but at the very least he's putting in the work from a non-physical standpoint?
Oh, absolutely. He was in the meetings at the rookie mini camps. He got the defensive playbook that he was asking for the night he was drafted. He got it the next day. He said it was kind of comical. Coach said, "Here you wanted it. Here it is." And so he's been working to learn that as much as possible. And if you like. He says he's got that dog in him, right? He wants to go out there. He wants to be asked to go out there and defend somebody and get up in his face. So, he's bringing that same approach to how he's trying to get ready for the season, doing what he can at this point of the year, which includes, working out on rehab with Todd Torricelli and trying to get his body recovered from the surgery in March so that he's ready to go for training camp.
As a whole, it seems like this rookie class hasn't come together. Rashad Weaver, I'm not sure if you saw the visuals of him, but the kid seemed like a specimen. He seemed like somebody that they really want to have on this team, aside from his legal actions he's got going on, his legal situation he has going on right now. Coach Vrabel was very brief about his conversation with them, but as a whole, how do you view his situation kind of panning out?
I see him on this team as the third pass rusher at this point. So, the path is there. And, I was down there for a little bit watching, Mike Vrabel work with him and showing, demonstrating how he wanted him, straight, getting down, because Weaver is a tall kid, okay? Mm-hmm. Trying to get him to get down instead of, he's 6'4", and he was trying to show him get down, use that height, and just drive through offensive linemen, which I'm sure probably brings a little shudder to you, Ramon, of past drills. But, he was showing him, and that's the thing. If you're going to be learning how to play outside linebacker in the NFL, it's not bad to have a guy like Mike Vrabel who played 14 years and has, 3 rings on his fingers. So, he was down there showing him how to get low and just drive through and get those arms straight on guys. And, he does look good. But that's the thing. Trying to gauge too much of the rookies this weekend, little challenging because the numbers were so down.
Teresa, I saw him. I saw him demonstrating how to beat offensive linemen, and all I can think is, nope, not on me. Will not do this, man. But you got to commend Coach Vrabel and the type of coach he is and the culture he's kind of creating. You speak about some of the players that they have right now. Caleb Farley, just the guys they got in free agency. And when you view their process of doing new acquisitions to this team, he has a type, but he's also a guy that gets involved with these type of drills. He was having Rashad Weaver drive through his chest on some of the stuff he had going on. That's got to be something that you want to run through a wall for a coach like that.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, you're going to have counters. Look how long you played offensive lineman, Ramon. But, but that's the thing. And he'll do this, with all the different players. So, he's not afraid to dive in. I was kind of wondering, the older we get, the tougher that is. So I am curious at what point in his career does, Vrabel maybe ease back on some of the, the show and tell and, direct and start just coaching a little bit from the side. But, right now he is still diving in. And, yes, the players in that locker room love that because he's hands-on and, he's showing that, if I'm asking you to do it, you can do it. And it just helps build the camaraderie and the belief in that coach when you see some of that going on.
Teresa, we know Memphis has Ja Morant, and we felt like we knew when Zion and Ja went that both of them were going to be a lot of fun to watch, and they are. But Memphis is in the play-in tournament. They're playing Wednesday against San Antonio. They got to win a couple here. The ceiling is still pretty low, I think, for this team. What is it that this franchise or any franchise needs in order to take the next step in the NBA? It certainly appears like right now you need 2 to 3 all-stars to really have any kind of a shot. And as good as Ja is, it's not a league where one guy can carry you.
Well, it isn't, but this is still just such a young team. And remember this, Jaren Jackson Jr. is that his second piece in that puzzle there. He was the 4th pick overall the year before Ja. And, they took it very carefully with him coming off of a knee surgery to do a repair for the long term rather than just do kind of a quick cleanup to get him back on the court. This is an asset that the Grizzlies want to make sure they have around for a long time. Now, right now, you can look, they've got a bunch of guys vying to be that third. Jonas Valanciunas, he's a double-double machine every night. And he showed yesterday against Golden State that he could go in and help dominate the paint, or he can go out and help defend on the three-point line when needed. They've got a guy, Brandon Clark. It was a rookie brought in the same year as Ja, so he's in his second season. Grayson Allen has been impressive this season, and trust me, as somebody who watched all the trips at Duke, I am very amazed to say that I enjoy watching him play with the Grizzlies. He's a do-everything kind of scat back, from steals to passes to you name it. He's fun to watch. This is a deep young team. They may actually have the talent that they need if they can keep growing and learning and getting better. Dylan Brooks said yesterday that this is a team still learning how to win. Dylan Brooks is in his 3rd year. So, and he's a guy who's already kind of a lockdown defender. He's the guy that they put on Steph Curry yesterday to try to slow him down. The only problem was he picked up a couple that he probably, wishes he could take back and ends up, fouling out with 6 minutes left and couldn't stick around for the finish. So, they're learning how to do these things, how not to foul, how to stay in the game and be there in that final minute. But guys, they've had at least 5 wins that I can think of over the last few weeks, 2 months, where they had huge leads and then the other team answered and they just couldn't find that way to counter in the final minute. And once they learn how to do that, this is a team that is, they were predicted to maybe win 36 to high 20s. And right now I think they're at 38, 34. And, so they're a little bit ahead of progress in their development. But if they could get a win on Wednesday night, win a game that truly matters, that's going to be a huge key in their development.
Teresa, over the weekend, we had a group of people join you in a world of Hall of Famers. And that's the NBA Hall of Fame enshrinement that went on over this past weekend. And when, the names Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, and Tim Duncan are brought up, what do you think of those guys and what they meant to the game?
Well, don't forget Tamika Catchings.
Yes, Tamika. And I thought about
what
yes,
she
Tamika.
meant. Yeah, talk about making me feel old. I remember when she was coming in as a freshman at Tennessee. But that class, I know they announced the next class yesterday morning, and there's some good names in there, but it's going to be tough to top what you saw them induct on Saturday. On the women's side, you had Kim Mulkey, Tamika Catchings, and then on the men's side, Kobe Bryant, and that was so incredibly emotional, and, everybody wishes he were there. And, Tim Duncan, that was Kevin Garnett, that was just star-studded to watch, and that was fun. Even if it, but again, it felt like everybody was just looking around. It's like, man, Kobe should be here, and that's the thing that I think was toughest about this induction.
All right, I asked this of Moan earlier, but you could have had one career if you were playing and you were one of those 3 guys. Whose career would you rather have had? Kobe's career, as I destroy the microphone, Tim Duncan, or Kevin Garnett?
I'm going to lean between Kobe and Duncan just because they had titles, lots of titles. Tim Duncan kind of quietly, racked them up down with San Antonio in a playoff run that, for the ages. One of the best in Major League sports ever. So, but then there's Kobe. So I got to take Kobe, don't you?
Yeah, I would just because I might have taken Tim Duncan, except that Kobe then won after Shaq left. So then you got rid of that piece of that narrative. And for Kevin Garnett, he had to play in Minnesota for a very long time, as good as he was. So I think he falls third there. Final thing, Wontarius Bryant's story. We talked about it a good bit on the show today. I know he wants to probably put it behind him, but how sad was this when you heard about the Governor's DB, who was an all OVC player, getting catfish basically?
Sickening. To do that to somebody, because here's the thing, he went to the Falcons facility.
Yeah.
There was the expense of the gas in a time where gas is a little, tough to find this last weekend, right? He drives down there, he shows up, and he thinks he's got a job. Anyone who's ever been hired for a job, to think about that. You walk up and then they tell you, no, that wasn't us. What are you talking about? We don't know you. Just leave. I can't imagine a much tougher gut punch for somebody to get. And the person who did that, I hope that they can maybe track down that number. To me, isn't that just like malicious mischief at this point? That is not a prank. That is horrifically mean and cruel.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Always a pleasure, Teresa. Thanks so much for the time. Hopefully, you know what? We'll ask you on the way out. What's the prediction for the series? Do you think the Predators actually upset the Hurricanes, or do you have the Canes?
Ooh, I have to say, I'm going to take a chance. I think the Predators do have an opportunity in this series. I'm going to say Preds in 6.
There it is. There it is. The Queen Teresa Walker.
Momentum is real.
She called it out. Preds in 6.
Looking forward to it. We get number one tonight.
That's right.
Number one tonight.
Or drop at 7. 615-737-1045. If you want to get your predictions in, what do you think is going to happen in this series? We'll take a couple of your phone calls when we come back. We'll read some of the comments coming in on 104.5 The Zone TV. Ron Slay, man.
He here.
Oh, he's definitely here. He is indeed definitely here. We'll be right back. We'll finish up the program. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
From the NFL Draft to the Titans' first game and everything in between, we got you, Titans fan. Download the 104.5 The Zone app.
Kiss my ass.
Cousin Andrew.
Kiss my ass.
You know what you could do, Shay? You could add the sneeze to that.
I told you I've been getting smacked all morning by my allergies, man.
And you're going to be at that baseball field tonight.
Again.
You get yourself some Flonase, some Nasacort.
This has never been an issue of mine, though. So this is
saline spray, something.
Golly. Afrin, I gotta get cleared out or something, man.
Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake that healthy butt. Kiss my ass.
Yeah.
Kiss my ass.
That's what the Predators are hoping to say to the Canes
Yeah,
tonight.
they are. Was it Carolina out here talking about best barbecue over this past weekend? And they left Memphis
Carolina
off the
barbecue's
map?
pretty solid,
I know
but
it's
Memphis
pretty
is
solid.
too.
But they left Memphis off the map, I thought.
Yep.
I was
Disrespect.
Oh.
What? Who was it that made the joke? I think it was Dave, our friend in the building, that made the joke. It's like you can know how great a barbecue restaurant is going to be by the number of, or by the amount of pictures of Jesus on the walls.
He said he had a family member that told him that. Yeah.
It's the Lord smoking
Which is
his
why
meat.
the best barbecue I've ever had was actually in the basement of a building in Galveston, Texas. And there was a picture of Jesus on every wall in that basement.
I'm telling you, man. But Carolina chose violence with this, though. It could get real ugly. I'm a fan of the Carolina-style barbecue, by the way. So it's more
If I can be serious.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Go ahead.
Nashville barbecue ain't that great.
Ooh.
It's all right.
I didn't.
It's fine. Ain't that great.
It ain't on the map the way Memphis is, though.
There's some good restaurants, right?
Yes.
Edley's is great.
There are some good restaurants.
Martin's is doggone good.
Yes, there are some good restaurants.
I even like Mission over in Opry Mills.
But
Mission is,
I don't look at Nashville as a barbecue city. And of course, Jack's, if you want to go local with barbecue.
I've never had Jack's.
Yeah, we have to fix that.
I hadn't had
Jim and Nick's.
Yep. Solid.
That's one we like. Yep. Barbecue-y.
But I don't look at Nashville as a barbecue town.
Do it, Mom.
I can't.
Right on into the microphone.
No, I can't sneeze on air.
You already have.
No, like hearing that sneeze is one of those things like hearing yourself talk. It's like, I don't really like that. You know what I'm saying? I was in here dying and y'all just recording away. You know, I hope y'all walk outside and the pollen just attacks you all, okay? Y'all feel my pain.
I just if I had to predict what your sneeze was gonna sound like.
It wasn't that. This shave just dying behind the glass.
Oh, God. It's daggone hilarious, man. You sound like Yana Novotná in a Wimbledon final.
Y'all be better, man.
Martina Hingis.
There it is. Monica Seles.
Sharapova.
Chris Everett. We just keep it going. Buck Risen's coming up next. He's a walking sneeze.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't either, but it works, doesn't it? Doesn't it somehow work? I feel like it works.
What are we doing here, man?
It's just a radio program, man. Tomorrow we'll have what? Auntie Kayla will be with us tomorrow.
Yes,
is Gleno with us tomorrow also?
He's not till later this week.
Later. Okay, we'll have John Glenn later this week. We got Kayla Anderson. She'll recap game 1 of Preds, Canes. Go Preds. For Ramon Foster, for Jonathan Schaefer, I'm Jason Martin. We will do it all again tomorrow.
And remember, your sneezes, your mic, and your Twitter fingers are always hot, baby.
Cover your mouth, man. Vampire sneeze.
My first time was bareback.
Coming up Monday with Buck Rising.
We'll talk to Alex Doherty of A to Z Sports before the Nashville Predators get their series started against the Carolina